A very good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and a very warm welcome to Emerging Cybersecurity Challenges for Indian Trade and Industry. Requesting everyone to please be seated, we're about to begin. सभी से निवेदन है कि अपने अपने स्थान को ग्रहण करें, कृपया अपनी जगह पर बैठ जाएं और एक और विनम्र अनुरोध कि अपने मोबाइल्स को प्लीज साइलेंट मोड पर रखें. May I please request everyone to put their mobiles on the silent mode to maintain the decorum and sanctity of the meeting that we're about to begin. Because what happens generally is that the speakers also get distracted and we also, sitting amongst the audience members, also get distracted by the phone. So let us concentrate on this very, very important topic that we have gathered here for, the central theme of today. May I please request everyone to be seated, we're about to begin. Once again, a very, very good morning and a hearty warm welcome to Emerging Cybersecurity Challenges for Indian Trade and Industry, a joint seminar being organized by the Indian Police Foundation and the Jain International Trade Organization, JITO. As India's economy rapidly digitizes, cybersecurity has become a critical concern for both national security and industrial resilience. This event brings together stakeholders from government, industry, law enforcement, and civil society to discuss pressing cyber threats such as info stealers, payment system vulnerabilities, attacks on critical infrastructure, and proposed solutions. The sessions today aim to explore how trust-based collaborative partnerships between the public and private sectors can help build a safer, more resilient digital ecosystem for India's future. The sessions today will explore the growing threat of info stealers and how they silently undermine business operations. This session will be taken by Shri Naveen Kumar Singh, IPS, DG National Critical Information Infrastructure Protection Center. We will also explore how public-private partnerships can help strengthen India's cybersecurity ecosystem. This session will be taken by Lieutenant General Dr. Rajesh Pant, former National Cybersecurity Coordinator in PMO and Chairman Cybersecurity Association of India and India Future Foundations. And finally, we will see how we can secure India's digital payment systems in an increasingly complex cyber landscape. This session will be taken by Dr. Vijay Rai, Chief Growth Officer, APAC and Board Member, Day One Technologies. Each session is structured to provide real-world insights, followed by a panel discussion moderated by Shri D.C. Jain, Chief Operating Officer, IPF, where our distinguished speakers will share their perspectives, experiences, as well as their ideas. But before we begin today's formal proceedings, let us invoke peace, humility, and spiritual energy. The Navakar mantra, as we know, is the most revered prayer, a timeless chant that pays homage not only to a deity, but to the virtues of enlightened souls. It reminds us to lead a life full of compassion, right conduct, and inner purity. May I please request everyone to kindly rise as we will recite the Navakar mantra together before the formal commencing of the program.
नमो अरिहंताणं नमो सिद्धाणं नमो आयर्याणं नमो वज्रायाणं नमो लोये सर्वसाहुणं एसो पंच नमुकारो सर्वपापप्रणाशनो मङ्गलाणं च सव्वेसि परममहवै मङ्गलम् नमो 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 नमो
मंत्र है न्यारा किसने लाखों को तारा इस महामंत्र का जाप करो भवजन से मिले किनारा नमो अरिहंताणं नमो सिद्धाणं नमो आयर्याणं नमो वधायाणं नमो ऐसो पंच नमुक्कारो सर्वपापनाशनो मंगलाणं च सव्वेसि परमं भवति मंगलम् नमो 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 नमो
Invoking peace, humility, and spiritual energy. To mark the auspicious beginning of today's event, we now proceed to the ceremonial lighting of the lamp, a timeless ritual that symbolizes the dispelling of darkness and the awakening of knowledge. May I please request our esteemed dignitaries to come forward for lighting of the lamp, beginning with inviting Shri N. Ramachandranji, IPS retired, former DGP Assam and Meghalaya and founder President IPF. We invite Shri O.P. Singhji, IPS retired, former DGP Uttar Pradesh and current President and CEO IPF. May we please invite Shri Sudhir Pratap Singhji, IPS retired, former DG NSG. Shri D.C. Jainji, IPS retired, former Special Director CBI and COO IPF. Shri Vinay Jainji, Chairman JITO, Delhi Chapter. We invite Shri Atul Mardiaji, Chief Secretary, JITO, Delhi Chapter. Shri Rajiv Mehtaji, Treasurer, JITO, Delhi Chapter, and the other dignitaries to please join us for lighting of the lamp. चलते हैं अंधकार से प्रकाश की ओर. दीप प्रज्वलन के साथ हम शुभ कार्यों की शुरुआत करते आए हैं हजारों वर्षों से, जो कि हमारे देश की परंपराओं में एक बहुत ही सुंदर और एक अहम जगह रखती है. ये यात्रा है अंधकार से प्रकाश की ओर, प्राणी से परमात्मा की ओर, अज्ञान से ज्ञान की ओर. The ceremonial lamp lighting, please join your hands, ladies and gentlemen, for this wonderful beginning. Once again, a big round of applause सभी की ओर से करतल ध्वनि. और हम सब जहां पर बैठे हैं वहीं से अपनी उपस्थिति के माध्यम से जो चारों तरफ की खूबसूरती है, और कहना चाहिए कि जो मंगल दिवस जहां हम सभी लोग एकत्रित हुए हैं उसकी शुरुआत कर रहे हैं. A picture perfect moment. Thank you very much. So after the lamp lighting, we will now begin with the formal proceedings for the day. Ladies and gentlemen, in order to welcome the august gathering now, and also to put forward his views, ideas, and perspectives, I'll be inviting Shri Vinay Jainji, who is the chairman of the JITO Delhi chapter and a distinguished business leader. Since joining his family business in the early 90s, he has led the Mittanji Group to become one of India's top importers and indenters of paper and paperboard. Under his leadership, The group has expanded with major converting units in Delhi and Greater Noida, along with a global warehousing network. He continues to play a vital role both in business as well as community development through his leadership at JITO. Let's welcome Shri Vinay Jain ji for his address. Ladies and gentlemen.
Namaskar everyone. Respected Shri Ramachandran sir, CEO and President of IPF, Shri OP Singh, Shri DC Jain, and other police bearer of IPF, my fellow office bearer of JITO, other dignitaries, and ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you all. It is a matter of pleasure of JITO Delhi Chapter to organize today's seminar along with IPF. I am particularly thankful to Shri DC Jain for accepting our request and hold this event for us. All of us faces challenges today from cybercrime, trade and industry. I am sure the participants will find the seminar very informative and useful. I also welcome those who have joined us online. Now I will request you all to see the short film about JITO and its activity. Thank you. Jai Jinendra.
Jai Jinendra, presenting the roadmap for JITO New Delhi for the tenure 2024 to 26. Under the visionary leadership of Shri Vinay Jain, Chairman, we embark on a transformative journey. This tenure will focus on knowledge, seva, and empowerment, the guiding vertices of our mission to serve and empower the Jain community. Our strength lies in our robust community with over 575 members, including 85 chief patrons and 490 patrons. A vibrant ladies wing of 144 and a dynamic youth wing of 110. Supported by 9 Shraman Arogyam trustees, 31 JITF trustees and 25 Jeep trustees. Together, we are driving impactful change. Through the Sadharmik Sumangalam initiative, we plan to extend JITO's reach to non-JITO, needy Jain families. Our aim will be to uplift them through direct interventions and the promotion of JITO schemes. Our proposed support will focus on critical areas like health, education, jobs, nutrition, and skill development achieved through higher education assistance via JEEP, primary education fee support for children, skill enhancement opportunities through CFE, job assistance through JITO jobs and direct hiring by chapter members, sustenance support for struggling families. This roadmap represents knowledge, seva, and empowerment in action. Guided by the principle of Ahimsa, we propose to undertake various Jeevdaya initiatives, including releasing fish, goats, and sheep from captivity, vaccinating stray dogs to safeguard animals and humans, modernizing bird care centers to enhance their services. This shall be seva at its most compassionate. We propose to organize dharmic yatras to sacred sites like Palitana, Shikharji, and Dilwara, encouraging members to deepen their spiritual connection and enrich their faith and spiritual knowledge. We plan to strengthen bonds through sports by bringing back the exciting Box Cricket League, fostering teamwork, and promoting empowerment through active participation. To build stronger relationships, we shall organize national and international trips under JITO Connect. These trips aim to promote unity, fellowship, and joy among members. To fuel entrepreneurship, we propose hosting 2 impactful workshops focused on startup incubation and funding. These initiatives will empower innovators, fortify knowledge, and drive empowerment. We plan to connect Jain families through JITO matrimony by curating thoughtfully designed events at the zone level, fostering new relationships and shared journeys. Through Shraman Arogyam, we shall deliver Nimit Roop Seva to Jain Sadhus and Sadhvis, ensuring their health and well-being a true embodiment of Seva. The JITO Professional Forum proposes to host 2 exclusive events to engage with industry leaders, focusing on business trends and professional growth. This will nurture knowledge for a competitive edge. Under the JITO Business Network, JBN, we plan to organize international factory visits and celebrate JBN champions, creating a platform for networking and entrepreneurial growth under empowerment. As they say, an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. We will learn from distinguished speakers through sessions on personal growth by icons like Gaur Gopal Das, AI and cybersecurity to stay future ready, management strategies from leaders like Rahul Jain. These sessions embody the spirit of knowledge and empowerment. Our flagship initiative, JITF, will continue to inspire through alumni success stories while motivating current scholars to achieve excellence. This represents the transformative power of knowledge in action. We extend our heartfelt gratitude to our sponsors. Your unwavering support empowers us to make a difference. Together, we shall move toward a brighter future with knowledge, seva, and empowerment as our guiding light. Thank you to all the members.
A wonderful video indeed. Together driving impactful change. Thank you, Vinayji, for addressing us and for letting us know your thoughts at the outset. Moving on, may I please invite Shri Atul Mardiaji, Chief Secretary, JITO New Delhi Chapter, for addressing us and also for letting us know about the upcoming program of JITO. Shri Atul Mardia. जोरदार तालियों के साथ आइए अभिनंदन करते हैं चीफ सेक्रेटरी जीतो न्यू दिल्ली चैप्टर.
सबको मेरा सादर जय जिनेंद्र. जीतो वीडियो ने काफ़ी कुछ एक्सप्लेन कर ही दिया है यहाँ पर. बट व्हाट इज़ जीतो? जीतो इज़ जैन इंटरनेशनल ट्रेड ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. तो यहाँ हम कैसे जे टू जे ट्रेड बढ़ा सकते हैं, तो वो मेन मुद्दा है और वो JBN के अंडर में आता है. तो we are coming up with an program on 2nd August that we call is the JBN Business Bhamasha Deal Day. So that day we'll be having 8 Bhamashas there on the board, and immediately business will be given to the concerned person. So hence वहीं पर हाथ के हाथ, the main motto is हाथ के हाथ business, जहाँ भामाशाह भी होंगे देने वाले और business लेने वाले भी होंगे. So that is the main agenda of JITO. So that we are coming up with a national program, Bhamasha Deal Day. Harpreet ji, can we have the AV please?
Imagine walking into a room and walking out with your biggest deal yet. What if this room has your dream clients waiting? Welcome to JBN Bhamasha Deal Day, where big business opportunity creators are coming together to create value proposition and business deals for over 400 plus Jain professionals, entrepreneurs, and business owners.
8 leading Bhamashas of different business categories like retail, manufacturing, real estate will give their real-time procurement needs to you, and you will get a chance to give the solution and business proposal live and in person to that Bhamasha.
It is not just about leads, it is about deals. Real conversations, real conversion. It is about presenting your business to the people who really matter.
With speed networking, power pitching, and open Q&A sessions, this is how Jain community collaborates to grow stronger, smarter, and faster.
One day,
one room,
and endless opportunities.
We are ready with JBN Bhamasha Deal Day. See you all there.
So though this is a national event, I request from this platform all the chapters from North Zone to attend this program and take the benefit of this program. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Atulji, for letting us know about the Deal Day. Thank you very much. And in fact, this collaboration will surely get us stronger and more smarter. Thank you for addressing us. Before we move further, बहुत से मोबाइल फोन्स अभी भी शायद रिंगर मोड पर हैं. हम निवेदन करते हैं हमारे सभी जितने भी आज अतिथि पहुँचे हैं कि प्लीज़ आप फ़ोन्स को अगर साइलेंट कर लेंगे तो जो सैंक्टिटी है और डेकोरम वो और भी अच्छे से चलेगा. Ladies and gentlemen, as we move on, I will be inviting another personality for his address, Shri D.C. Jain, IPS retired, who is a former Special Director of the CBI and a respected officer from the Rajasthan cadre. An engineer by training, he holds a post-graduation in criminology from the University of Cambridge. His career includes key roles in the UN peacekeeping mission in Kosovo, National Defense College, and international negotiations on extradition treaties. He has represented India at Interpol and global anti-corruption forums. a recipient of the President's Police Medal for Distinguished Services and the Police Medal for Meritorious Service. He now serves as COO of the Indian Police Foundation, contributing to police reforms and public safety. We look forward to hearing from you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, please join hands for Shri D.C. Jain.
Good morning, everyone. Respected Shri N. Ramchandran, the founding president of IPF, the Indian Police Foundation, Shri O.P. Singh, who is the current president and CEO of IPF. In fact, sir took over only yesterday from Shri Ramchandran. And we have Shri Sudhir Pratap Singh, sir, जो जैसा सर की आदत हमेशा पीछे जाके बैठते हैं, though we requested him to sit in the front, is the treasurer IPF. We have Shri P.V. Ramashastri, who just retired from UP. I was DG Prisons, Uttar Pradesh, and the other fellow colleagues from the Indian Police Foundation. Then from the JITO side, we have Mr. Vinay Jain, Chairman, Delhi Chapter. We have Atul Mardia, the Chief Secretary. Rajiv ji is there, who is the Treasurer of JITO Delhi Chapter. There are many other office bearers of JITO. And amongst the audience, we can see Mr. Ashok Jain, who is the Vice President of the Mahavir International. Pawan ji is there. We have our three distinguished speakers. Lieutenant General Dr. Rajesh Pant, who was the former National Cybersecurity Coordinator in the PMO. We have Dr. Vijay Rai, a very distinguished person. Then we have Naveen Kumar Singh. In the audience, of course, we have representatives from various organizations, including the Central Bureau of Investigation, National Investigating Agency, Delhi Police, and other paramilitary forces, as you can see. And of course, the distinguished members of JITO family. And then we also have people who are with us online. In fact, I think these days, since we provide this alternative to people that they can also join online, that is also a factor which reduces the attendance in person, because many people have that alternate. So I think from both JITO side and IPF side, we have more than 200 people who have already joined us online. And because as Vinayji was telling me, there are a couple of events happening today simultaneously in Delhi, because of which I think many people from JITO, they couldn't come, and perhaps their own way to this auditorium. But in any case, first of all, I must thank Vinayji that he gave the Indian Police Foundation this opportunity for organizing this seminar on such an important topic. हमारी जब बात हो रही थी विनय जी से, अतुल जी से और राजीव जी से एक दिन ऐसे ही बैठ के, तो ये आइडिया आया कि क्यों ना मतलब जो है जीटो के प्लेटफॉर्म पे इंडियन पुलिस फाउंडेशन के द्वारा जो ट्रेड एंड इंडस्ट्री के लोग हैं उनके लिए किसी महत्वपूर्ण विषय पर एक प्रोग्राम, कॉन्फ्रेंस या सेमिनार आयोजित की जाए. एंड परहैप्स एज यू कुड सी द काइंड ऑफ एक्टिविटीज़ द एंटरप्रेन्योर्स, द बिजनेस पीपल हु आर एसोसिएटेड विद जीटो, दे आर involved, they are engaged in. Nothing could have been, I think, a more relevant topic than cyber security. तो इसीलिए ये आज का जो टॉपिक था कि इमर्जिंग साइबर सिक्योरिटी चैलेंजेस, इसके ऊपर बात की जाए. और मुझे ये बताते हुए खुशी है कि आज का जो थीम हम लोगों ने चुना है, अभी आपको इंट्रोडक्शन में बताया गया है, वेदर इट पर्टेन्स टू योर डेटा थेफ्ट और इन्फो स्टीलर्स, जो आपकी अलग अलग प्रकार की बिजनेस रिलेटेड इन्फॉर्मेशन है, चाहे वो आपके फाइनेंस सिस्टम से संबंधित हो, आपके एचआर सिस्टम से संबंधित हो. आजकल बिना डेटा के, बिना डिजिटल टेक्नोलॉजी का उपयोग के हम कोई बिज़नेस नहीं कर सकते, कोई इंडस्ट्री नहीं चला सकते. तो उससे उत्पन्न क्या खतरे हो सकते हैं, हाउ टू डील विद दैट. Then we have this what is the scenario of public-private partnership as far as these cyber threats are concerned. तो उसके ऊपर भी then we will have a session and we have a speaker, Lieutenant General Dr. Rajesh Pant will speak particularly on that. Info stealers पे we have DG National जैसा बताया Critical Information Infrastructure Protection Center DG NCIIPC के डॉक्टर नवीन कुमार सिंह जो डीजी हैं आईपीएस ऑफिसर वो बोलेंगे. Then Dr. Vijaray will tell us about the issues relating to the payment system. पर्टिकुलरली जो हम लोग आज के लिए इतने सारे डिजिटल पेमेंट्स करते हैं तो उनको लेकर के बिजनेस को क्या खतरे हो सकते हैं, क्या इश्यूज हो सकते हैं. सो वी हैव वेरी केयरफुली चोजन द स्पीकर्स फॉर द डे एंड देन वी विल आल्सो हैव अ पैनल डिस्कशन. तो आई एम वेरी श्योर दैट ऑल ऑफ यू विल बी ग्रेटली ह्यूजली बेनिफिटेड एजुकेटेड बाय दीज सेशंस बिकॉज इसी प्रकार का आई थिंक इट इज़ जस्ट अ बिगिनिंग दैट आई थिंक वी आर मेकिंग इन दिस पर्टिकुलर डायरेक्शन एंड मे बी in times to come, we have more such more meaningful, more engaging conversations and partnerships with the Indian Police Foundation. And I understand we also have the representatives of CII in today's program because we are going to have one meeting with them day after tomorrow. So there also we are looking to forge partnerships with the CII to carry these kind of programs forward. And we also have dignitaries from the Cybersecurity Association of India. Goyal Saab is there. तो definitely we all welcome. तो ये इस तरह से काफ़ी लोग यहाँ पे आए हुए हैं. बाकी जो सेशंस के बारे में it is not for me to speak because we have the distinguished speakers. इंडियन पुलिस फाउंडेशन के बारे में ज़रूर मैं थोड़ा सा आप लोगों को बताना चाहूँगा. वैसे तो हमारे प्रेसिडेंट साहब भी बोलेंगे कि ये एक थिंक टैंक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है इंडियन पुलिस की जिसमें आप समझ सकते हैं कि जो भी पुलिस की डिग्नेटरीज़ हैं, जो ल्यूमिनरीज़ हैं, लीडरशिप हैं, वो इसको रिप्रेजेंट करते हैं. आप लोगों ने नाम सुना होगा बहुत जो काफ़ी डिस्टिंग्विश्ड पुलिस लीडर्स रहे हैं अपने अपने फील्ड में, वो इसके फाउंडिंग मेंबर्स हैं, पैट्रन्स हैं और सर्विंग रिटायर्ड सभी तरह के नॉट ओनली द पुलिस ऑफिसर्स बट इवन पीपल फ्रॉम द सिविल सर्विसेज लाइक रिटायर्ड कैबिनेट सेक्रेटरी, रिटायर्ड यूनियन होम सेक्रेटरी, सिविल सोसाइटी के जो बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण लोग हैं, मतलब दोज हु थिंक अबाउट दी कॉमन मैन ऑफ दिस कंट्री, हाउ टू मेक देयर लाइफ बेटर एंड मोर सिक्योर. तो इस तरह से पुलिस रिफॉर्म्स के ऊपर हम लोग काम करते हैं. वुमेन सेफ्टी, सिक्योरिटी, चाइल्ड प्रोटेक्शन, देयर आर मेनी एरियाज ऑन विच दिस पर्टिकुलर foundation has been working. It is not a very old organization. It came into being only in the year 2015. तो पिछले 10 वर्ष में इनफैक्ट जो है काफ़ी काम किया है और आगे भी काम करने की इच्छा है. तो आई थिंक इट इज़ अ न्यू काइंड ऑफ बिगिनिंग दैट वी आर गोइंग टू मेक विद द इंडियन ट्रेड एंड इंडस्ट्री बाय दिस पर्टिकुलर सेमिनार दैट वी आर होल्डिंग टुडे. And as I said, we are looking forward to more such fruitful interactions in the future. बहुत ही अच्छा रहेगा. तो मैं ज़्यादा समय न लेते हुए, चूँकि आई थिंक वी आर ऑलरेडी रनिंग लेट बाय हाफ एन आवर, इसलिए जो है मैं चाहूँगा कि आप सब लोगों का एक बार फिर मैं आईपीएफ की तरफ से स्वागत करता हूँ इस सेमिनार में. और मैं एक बार फिर जीटो के चेयरमैन श्री विनय जी और उनकी पूरी टीम का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देता हूँ जो काफ़ी दिनों से मेहनत कर रहे हैं. एक अच्छा उन्होंने ये जगह इसके लिए चुना in this beautiful auditorium, and I am very sure that we are going to have a very fruitful, engaging conversation on the topics, on the themes of today's seminar, and all of us will be hugely benefited by the discussions that emerge and that happen during this seminar. Once again, thank you so much. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Thank you very much, sir, for addressing us, for sharing your thoughts and views with us. Thank you. As we move on, we will now be hearing from Shri O.P. Singh ji, former IPS officer, who has led 3 top forces of the country as DGP Uttar Pradesh, DG CISF and DG NDRF, playing a key role in police modernization, disaster response and national security. He is a recipient of President's Police Medal for distinguished services and has represented India at global forums like the World Humanitarian Summit. He was instrumental in implementing the police commissionerate system in UP and led rescue efforts during the 2015 Nepal earthquake. He's taken over as the President and CEO of the Indian Police Foundation only yesterday from Shri N. Ramchandran, as was also told to us by Shri D.C. Jain ji, and is also a published author and mentor to civil service aspirants. May I please request Shri O.P. Singh ji to join us on the dais. A big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Mr. N. Ramachandran, the Vice Chairman, the newly inducted Vice Chairman of Indian Police Foundation. Until yesterday, he was the President and CEO of Indian Police Foundation, from whom I have taken over. My colleague, Mr. D.C. Jain, Chief Operating Officer. We have Mr. Vinay Jain, Chairman, JITO. Mr. Madia, Chief Secretary. We have distinguished people here, all gathered from various sectors, from trade, from industry, from paramilitary forces, from media, and so many of them, since Mr. Jain has already named all these people who are gathered here, I'll be just wasting time to name them again. The distinguished speakers who will be talking about the relevant subjects, relevant topics, and all those who have joined us online from various parts of the country. सबसे पहले तो मैं बहुत दिल से साधुवाद देता हूँ जैन इंटरनेशनल ट्रेड ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को, जिन्होंने अपना हाथ बढ़ाया इंडियन पुलिस फाउंडेशन के लिए, और इंडियन पुलिस फाउंडेशन के बारे में मिस्टर जैन बीइंग अ चीफ ऑपरेटिंग ऑफिसर उन्होंने कुछ बताया। आप सभी जानते हैं कि पुलिस की क्या भूमिका समाज में होती है, और मैं उस प्रदेश से आया हूं जहां मैंने वर्स्ट और बेस्ट दोनों देखा है। मैंने देखा है कि किस प्रकार इंडस्ट्री तबाह हुई है, किस प्रकार इंडस्ट्री को एक कंड्यूसिव एनवायरनमेंट नहीं मिला, चाहे वो नोएडा हो, गाज़ियाबाद हो, कानपुर हो, लखनऊ हो, प्रयागराज हो, वाराणसी हो, इन सभी इलाकों में किस प्रकार पुलिस की भूमिका बहुत अच्छी नहीं रही है, जिसकी वजह से इंडस्ट्री जो है वो पनप नहीं पाया, जबकि उत्तर प्रदेश देश का सबसे महत्वपूर्ण राज्य और सबसे बड़ी आबादी वाला राज्य है। और मुझे ये कहते हुए बहुत गर्व होता है कि मैं उस प्रदेश का पुलिस महानिदेशक डीजीपी रहा हूँ, जिसकी जनसंख्या 24-25 करोड़ की है, जो कई विश्व के कई देशों के बराबर है और उनसे भी ज़्यादा है। इनफैक्ट वी आर 5th लार्जेस्ट स्टेट एंड इन टर्म्स ऑफ कंट्री ऑल्सो इन द होल ग्लोब। जब मैंने डीजीपी के रूप में चार्ज लिया तो मुझे एहसास हुआ कि कितना ज़रूरी है। 2018 में जब हम लोगों ने पहली बार ग्लोबल इन्वेस्टर समिट किया, तो इंडस्ट्रीज़ को और इंडस्ट्रीज़ के जितने कैप्टन्स थे उनको ये विश्वास नहीं हो रहा था कि हम लोग इस प्रकार का एक माहौल क्रिएट कर पाएंगे या दे पाएंगे। और एक तरह से सभी के मन में एक सेंस ऑफ इनसिक्योरिटी, सेंस ऑफ डिस्ट्रस्ट था, और शासन की भी यही मंशा थी कि किस प्रकार हम इंडस्ट्रीज़ को यहाँ फिर से पुनर्स्थापित कर सकें, उनको एक सेंस ऑफ डायरेक्शन दे सकें। इंडियन पुलिस फाउंडेशन पिछले 10 वर्षों से पूरे देश के विभिन्न भागों में पुलिस की फंक्शनिंग किस प्रकार हम इम्प्रूव कर सकें, किस प्रकार हम एविडेंस बेस्ड रिसर्च ला सकें, किस प्रकार हम अपने कंडक्ट को सही कर सकें और सुधार कर सकें, यही प्रयास रहा है। और मैं जितनी कम कहूँ तारीफ़ की जाए वो मिस्टर रामाचंद्रन की, कि पिछले फाउंडर प्रेसिडेंट के रूप में उन्होंने 10 वर्षों में हम लोगों ने जो भी प्रयास किया वो भले ही बहुत पारदर्शी ना हो, भले ही वो बहुत सार्वजनिक ना हो, लेकिन a small step is always the big step, and we have always believed that last mile connectivity होनी चाहिए, और उसी last mile connectivity के अंतर्गत हम लोगों ने collaborations करना शुरू किया। And I'm so happy and I'm grateful to Mr. Vinay Jain, Mr. Ajay Mardia, that they extended their hands to us. And this is the beginning of our collaborations, this is the beginning of our constructive engagement. और जैसा मिस्टर जैन ने कहा कि आने वाले समय में हम कई प्रकार से एक दूसरे की मदद करके और समाज में जो हमारे लोग हैं, चाहे वो ट्रेड में, इंडस्ट्री में हो या ना हो, लेकिन कॉमन मैन को भी किस प्रकार पुलिस की फंक्शनिंग से बेनिफिट हो सकता है, वो बताने की कोशिश करेंगे. यही हमारा ध्येय है, यही हमारा संकल्प है. So, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me immense pleasure to welcome and address all the distinguished gathering here. And the most important topic that we are discussing and our distinguished speakers will be speaking about is on something, we all know that India's digital transformation is accelerating, and it is accelerating at an unprecedented pace. But the fact is that the very platforms that power innovations, that power e-governance, or perhaps that power digital finance and industrial automation, they are also being relentlessly targeted by cyber attacks. And that is the main concern, that we are a country of 1.4 billion people. We have a very decisive leadership. We have a very fastest growing economy. But the fact remains that we have to be concerned about the cyber attacks that's taking place all over the country, and not only in the country, but in the entire globe. So the topic is very relevant, about which the distinguished speakers will be speaking about. But the most important thing is that in most of the developed countries, the digital economy has become the real economy, about which the speakers will be talking about in greater details. And the internet and the ICT, they are permeating societies and economies at a global and local levels. Perhaps they are blurring the difference between what is online and what is not. And that is why the issue is no longer about how to anticipate and prepare the societies for the digitizations. Rather, it is for how to harness the best effects for all sectors of the society. That is the most important thing. And therefore, in a hyper-connected world in which we all live, enterprises, whether they are small or big, they become vulnerable. And they are vulnerable to cyber attacks because the criminals deliver spam, they are trying to cast phishing attacks, they are facilitating click-framed frauds, and they are also launching distributed denial of services attacks with high precision. So, a thriving underground economy always fuels the growth of innovative strategies, and therefore we have to be very, very concerned about it. I'm so happy that JITO has extended its hand, and through the platform of the Indian Police Foundation, we have invited the distinguished speakers here who will be talking about all these relevant topics. And perhaps not only the trade and industry, even a common man like me, or common man of all over the country, they will get benefited out of it, and they will feel that it is something very, very important for all of us. This world is going to be not only a globalized world, but it is a collaborative world. And unless we have the collaborations, and in the field of cybercrime or cybersecurity, the collaboration is the most important thing. I need not introduce the speakers. The introduction has already been given. The CVs are there for everyone to see. I am sure this particular session on all three relevant subjects will be highly beneficial, enriching, and they will provide us with a lot of insights through which we'll all get a lot of benefits. I look forward to see a very productive engagement for all of us. And I'm again thankful to Mr. Vinay Jain. I'm thankful to JITO for having given us a very collaborative hand to Indian Police Foundation. And we promise from the platform of the Indian Police Foundation that we'll always be there for you to help each other. And in near future, as Mr. DC Jain has already spelled out, that we'll always be there to come with relevant topics which will be very, very essential for all of us to understand and to know. With these words, I would not like to waste more time. Thank you so much for inviting me, and thank you so much for giving us this platform. Thank you.
how to harness the best effects for all sectors. And as rightly mentioned, that a lot of insights are awaiting all of us. So without any delay, let us straight away dive into the first session for today. Ladies and gentlemen, on the topic of info stealers, the silent cyber threat undermining Indian trade and industry. This will be presented by Sri Naveen Kumar Singh ji, IPS, who is the Director General of the National Critical Information Infrastructure Protection Center. An alumnus of IIT Kanpur and the International Anti-Corruption Academy Vienna, he has been awarded for academic excellence and received the Best Master's Thesis Award. Since joining the IPS in 1997, he has held key roles in counter-extremism, the CBI, and cybercrime enforcement, and has been instrumental in pioneering tech-led policing reforms in Jharkhand. A highly decorated officer, he is a recipient of the Police Medal for Gallantry, President's Police Medal for Distinguished Service, and several other honors. At present, he leads India's efforts to safeguard critical digital infrastructure. Please join hands in welcoming Sri Naveen Kumar Singh ji on the dais. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause.
Presentation or so distinguished office bearers of the Indian Police Foundation and JITO, ladies and gentlemen, those present here and those joining offline. At the outset, I would like to thank the IPF for giving me the opportunity to speak here, and I must compliment them for choosing a topic which is really relevant for the Indian trade and industry. What I'll do in the next 30 minutes is to give you a brief of about info stealers and try that all of you, given the fact that people would be coming from different background, you get a sense of what info stealers is and why you need to worry about info stealers and what we can do individually and what we can do together. So can we go to the slides, please? So can you go to the full screen, please? Or we can leave it like this. It's not going to the next slide. Otherwise, I can say next and they can just. Otherwise, whoever is sitting on the computer can just press the next button. Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. So this is just the broad scope of the presentation, which I have already told. We will just see how digital leap has taken place in Indian trade and industry, and then what are the cybersecurity threats to the Indian trade and industry. Then I'll speak in detail about the info stealers because that is the topic given to me. I'll try to illustrate through some case studies and then the conclusions and way forward. And since it's between JITO and the Indian Police Foundation, I thought I'll leave some thoughts on to what the police can do and what the
trade and industry organizations can do. So coming to what OP sir had also said, India in the last more than a decade or so has actually moved forward like anything as far as expanding digitization and improving e-governance to improve service delivery is concerned. And India is probably the only country in the world to make population scale digital infrastructure. And I say with a lot of pride that there's no other country in the world who has built digital infrastructure which can happen, which can take care of the kind of population which we have been doing. And the good strategy which the government of India has come up with is that they are basically giving the digital public infrastructure in a lot of places and a lot of domains, and basically they are leaving the space open for the trade industry and the innovators to build their applications on top of it and actually improve, bring in efficiency and all which is required to compete in this global world. And I was speaking to the CEO Niti Aayog also, and he says that if you consider this Aadhaar and UPI as one stack, they are going to have almost 30 stacks by 2047 when we go to digital Bharat kind of a thing. When we go to that Viksit Bharat stage by 2047. So that's the kind of things which is in the offering, and the Aadhaar stack was the first thing which was built by India, and almost all the citizens of the country now they have a digital identity, and a lot of businesses now, for example, Jio was able to give the kind of SIMs which it could only because it used Aadhaar to verify the identity and distribute SIMs. Had we not digitized and had this digital public infrastructure not been in place, or had Jio not visualized how to use this public infrastructure for its benefit, probably the kind of connectivity which Jio was able to give within a year would not have been possible. So I'm just trying to give you insight as to how the trade and in the industry has leveraged or could leverage the digital public infrastructure which the government has built. Now the second digital public infrastructure which the government is now building, this is just a glimpse of it, the government e-marketplace. What is coming up now is the open network for digital commerce, which is again a very ambitious scheme where instead of the entities having to go to Flipkart or the other conglomerates, the ONDC will provide a platform where people who wants to sell their goods and people who wants to buy their goods, they can basically get the services of this platform free of cost. One such platform, I would say a small part of it is what we see in the government e-market place, and it has already reached the turnover of around 13.6 lakh crores by May 2025. Then a lot of other initiatives like Udyam and business onboarding, a lot of citizen civic services, DigiLockers and all, where you can basically put your documents free of cost. Now, apart from Aadhaar, the other things which has changed everything is again the UPI stack, the Unified Payment Interface stack, which the NPCI has been able to build. And since NPCI is also a declared or a notified critical information infrastructure protection center, CII entity, so we work very closely with NPI, and I can tell you that the kind of innovation in payments and the kind of efficiency and the kind of growth in trade and industry it has been able to bring out is something which is really unparalleled, and as India is now moving towards making it a global payment system, it has not only cut the monopoly of the cards like Visa and MasterCards, it is also giving a lot of tough competition to the other such platforms, and we see a lot of resistance how across the world people are now trying to ensure that this doesn't become the global payment norm kind of a thing. So this is again something which has been adopted by everyone. It has promoted trade and commerce. And these are just revenues to show how IT and the IT-enabled services, they are growing and how their rising contribution is there. These figures, different sources would give you different figures, so don't go by the exact figures, but the fact is that there is a really exponentially rising contribution of the IT and IT-enabled services in our overall GDP or our even the export. If you see, over 50% of our sector revenue comes from exports, which are related to India's IT services. Even in the employment creation, it's one of the major sectors. Now, coming to our micro, small and medium enterprises and the e-commerce adoption. Again, India, as you can see from these slides, India has done really well on all fronts, and things are really moving at a fast pace. And probably one reason why India is still having a growth of almost 6.5 to 7%, when no other country in the world is having that kind of a growth, even in the present scenario. A lot of it has to do with the kind of investment we have done in infrastructures, build these platforms, bring inherent efficiencies. So those are the things which are also contributed to that. Now, with this rapid digitization in trade and industry comes also the threats to it, because with the adoption of all these technologies, your attack surface really goes up like anything. So we really need to be worried about what do we need to do to be secure while achieving the benefits of the IT revolution. So I've just tried to list some of the threats which actually face the trade and industry within the country. So info stealers we'll be talking about, data breaches, intellectual property thefts, ransomware attacks, the supply chain attacks, the man-in-the-middle attack, cyber attacks because of corporate rivalry. I think this is also something which we need to understand being in the trade industry. For example, if you look at, there is one company called CloudSec. This is one of the upcoming cybersecurity firm in India. And in 2022, it had an attack where all its data was actually leaked in the public. It was basically into dark web monitoring and things like that. And I was talking to the owner of the CloudSec, and he said that he firmly believes that his rivals have basically released all this data to give an impression that when you can't secure yourself, how are you going to do cybersecurity business for others? And it's a global rivalry. It's not just rivalry within India. So I'm giving you this example so that you need to be just aware of the kind of threats and probably take necessary remedial measures depending upon the threats and the rivalry which you may be having. And then the distributed denial of service attacks. So these are probably the kind of attacks which we normally see in the Indian ecosystem. Across the world also you would be seeing. Now, while I was listing this, then it struck to me, and that is why I'm complimenting the organizers for choosing the topic of, in all these attacks, except the DDoS attacks, probably info stealers are the one which enable all the other attacks. Because if it's the info stealers which basically are used for doing the data breaches, it's the info stealers which lead to these IPR threats. The info stealers are a prelude to even the ransomware deployment. They also lead to supply chain attack. And the man-in-the-middle attack where somebody basically intercepts your communication and tries to become one of your employees. There again, he needs to know a lot of credentials, the session tokens before he can do it. So in that sense, if you can take care of the info stealers, then you basically are able to make yourself safe from a lot of threats. So that is why I thought I'll clarify this point. Now we will talk about what exactly is an info stealer. So as you can see on this slide, info stealer is basically a malware which is designed to covertly exfiltrate sensitive information like login credentials, financial information, browser cookies, session tokens, and personally identifiable information. And how do they actually penetrate your system? So that is given in the first bullet, which is the initial. What are the initial exploit access vectors? So normally they are basically deployed in your system through phishing emails or what is generically called the social engineering techniques. Then the browser session hijacking. This is something which is mostly used where most of the people who are not that tech savvy, you must know that your browsers save everything which you are doing, whether it is your browsing history. A lot of people save their passwords, etc., in browser for ease of everything. And if your browser sessions, etc., and their tokens, etc., are hijacked, then somebody, without disturbing your session, can create a parallel session and do everything which you are doing and get hold of everything which you are doing. Then other thing which we have seen recently is malvertising. Malvertising is basically now a lot of digital ads are coming, and in fact, if you look at companies like, for example, the revenue model of Google is basically based on advertising only. And I have some colleagues of mine who works in Google, and they say that the cost of earning $1 to Google is less than the cost of printing $1 to the US government. So that's the kind of business and the kind of revenue they are generating just through advertising. And what has happened is that now most of the advertising has moved from the print space to the digital space. And in the advertisement, the threat actors are putting malwares. So you would be on the front screen, you would be just seeing some kind of an advertisement, but if you click on something, these info stealers would be dropping. So this is a new modus operandi which the threat actors have basically adopted, and we see rising trends of this at our place. Then of course cracked softwares and those kind of things, obviously those are exploited by the threat actors. The other important point of it is that unlike the DDoS attacks, unlike the ransomware attacks, these do not disrupt your operations. So anyone who gets affected, he doesn't feel that he has been affected in any way. And it silently just exfiltrates your data, exfiltrates your credentials, and everything, so that it can have parallel access to your system. And this is why it is basically most dangerous, and this we have felt everywhere. So long as, even if you go to the critical infrastructure operators, for example, even the telecom operators, and if you tell them that all your data are being breached, so long as the telecom communications are running, so long as they are able to bill their customers, they are not bothered unless you give them very concrete evidence, and unless news like say lakhs of records are there in the dark web, unless that comes, even those CI entities are not sensitized. So that is something which basically the threat actors are taking advantage of. They are just silently in their systems, and we'll cover how they have basically now become more sophisticated in the sense that they are able to avoid the EDRs and the antiviruses. And what they do, so basically they are basically harvesting all your data which can be used to basically gain access to your system, or gain a lot of information which can then be used to sell it on the dark web, or then used to blackmail you and things like that. So all those kinds of information, your crypto wallet data, your health data, your PIIs, all those things is what they basically steal. And the stolen data, basically that's just how do they actually transfer. So a lot of these, so there are different criminal groups or the threat actor groups. Some of them may be just deploying these info stealers. There will be another group who will take these info stealers, put it on the dark web and sell it there and monetize it. And this monetization can be through dark web or the Telegram forum. So this is broadly what the info stealers are and how do they work. So these are some of the common info stealers in circulation. So they broadly differ in the TTPs, the tactics, techniques, and procedures through which they operate. So I just thought I would list them. We need not go into the technicalities of it because the broad features are something which we have already covered. Red line stealer is something which is most prominent or what we have seen most in the Indian ecosystem, followed by Luma stealer, which has risen in the last 1 year or so. Then Vidar, Raccoon, and the others which are listed in the slide. In the critical sector entities also, we have seen more than 35 different kinds of info stealers. This slide just lists and give you an idea of which info stealers are more prominent. As I already told you, Redline and Luma, you can see the sectors which have been affected include power and energy sector. Now then there are different threat actor groups which use these info stealers. I've just listed them for the sake of the completeness in the presentation. You need not be worried too much about the threat actors. It's more for agencies like us and the police, because we need to track them and make sure that they are immobilized. Now coming to some of the statistics which will give you a sense of how important it is and why we need to be worried about it. So over 26 million devices infected globally by 2024, and they account for 60% of all stolen credentials across the globe. Even if you look at the Indian exposure, as per the threat intel companies and many other researchers report, over 3,000 cyber attacks per week happened in India in 2024, with info stealers breaching thousands of corporate systems as well. Info stealers logs are sold in bulk on Telegram and dark web, enabling credential stealing and frauds with less than $10 per device. That's the rate at which these things are sold. Then the other worrying point is that these days malware is available as a service. So in the dark web, it's very actually difficult for the criminals to be able to build malware. So what has happened is there are certain groups who have that expertise. They build malwares, and then there are other groups who want to make money. So they are able to sell malware as a service, and the deal is that whatever you are able to get by using my malware, a certain percentage of it has to be shared back to the people who developed. So that is where I have just listed the prices which we see on the dark web, for which the people who are making those kind of sophisticated malwares can actually leverage it to somebody, and that is something which makes the job of the law enforcement agencies very different, because from the malware you know who has made it, but which group has actually operated it is difficult to identify, because with a lot of anonymity they are able to sell in the dark web, and a lot of groups have come out who are basically now started using this kind of a malware. So why should we worry about these info stealers? Loss of the reputation of the company. We have seen loss of irrecoverable loss of data, especially when it is followed by ransomware attacks. The loss of business clients, especially if you are a managed service provider kind of a thing, then you actually have a lot of information about your clients. And if the clients someday know that through info stealers all their credentials have been shared, then you immediately lose all your clients. Then, of course, whenever it is detected, you need money for remediating the damage which has been caused. And this will be like all kinds of damage. It can be the fines or sanctions by the regulators. It can be damage to your clients. If you have those kinds of clauses written like that, then you need to have money to set back the business operations. Then it has a lot of impact on all your dependencies. And last but not the least, with this Data Protection Act coming in force, now there's for people who are collecting data, so for outlets like, for example, Zomato, Swiggy, and those kind of companies, or people into those kinds of businesses where you're collecting a lot of data from the citizens, protecting that data would be your responsibility. And if you don't do that, there are provisions of hefty fines. The fines are really hefty, and so for that reason also you need to be worried about these info stealers. Then I just thought, just to give you an idea as to why basically these are increasing. The first I have already covered it, the increased attack surface, because a lot of things is digitized. But the other thing is it's a very low entry barrier. You just need to know some skills, and you just need one terminal and internet connection to be able to do the crime anywhere across the world. So that is something which has made it very prominent. The other thing why it is increasing is there is an anonymity of the perpetrators. If you are using VPN connections and things like that, it is very difficult for anybody to find out who is actually committing the crime. Then I think the other thing where the job of the police and the law enforcement agencies comes, of course, these are not easy challenges because you have to do collaboration across the jurisdictions and things like that. But available platforms for collaboration between the threat actors, some of which I talked about dark web forums, but even the encrypted chat forums. So most of those IP communication, these are encrypted, and even the law enforcement agencies, even using their interception powers, cannot know what the groups are chatting about. So that makes collaboration between the threat actors very much possible and difficult for the law enforcement agencies to penetrate that. Then availability of cryptocurrencies to siphon off trade proceeds of crime, because with digitization, if the money which is siphoned off is put into the normal channels, then it will be easy for us to detect them and persecute the offenders. But then since cryptocurrencies, because of the blockchain technologies, make it difficult to track them, so it's difficult to track offenders using this, using the following up of the proceeds of crime routes. And lastly, because of the nature of this crime and the nature in which the law enforcement agencies have grown up, our traditional way where the crime scene, the criminal and the victim used to be in one police station jurisdiction, and the FIR used to be registered in that jurisdiction, and the police used to work. In case of these cyber attacks and the cyber crime, the victim, the instruments of crime, the perpetrators, and where the money went, none of them are in the same jurisdiction. So this has really made the life of the law enforcement agencies very difficult, and that's another reason why these are increasing. Now, if you look at, I just thought I'll give you some statistics as to, that it is how it is at the global level. So top affected country, United States, India, Brazil, Russia, and Germany. But India has moved now to the second place in terms of the number of incidents and attacks. The global incidents, you can see, rose from 5 million in 2020 to almost 26 million in 2024, which is more than 500% increase. And a lot of it has happened in the corporate networks as well. One example which may interest you is the SaaS credential leaks. For example, in 2024, the Indian IT companies found corporate Google Workspace and Microsoft 365 credentials being traded on Telegram channel and harvested via malware embedded in PDF, job offers, and cracked browser extensions. So even the big corporates are not left out of it. It's not that only the small and the medium enterprises are being targeted by it. Then I've just tried to list some of the info stealer cases which has happened in SEBI regulated entities. I have chosen this for the simple reason that I have much more visibility here because I chair the high-powered cybersecurity committee of SEBI. If you look at these are basically broker firms which are enlisted to either the National Stock Exchange or the Bombay Stock Exchange, and they are supposed to have robust cybersecurity measures in place, but all of them got infected by ransomware. And if you see, I've just listed a few examples, and all of them have got finally infected by info stealers, and then it led to either loss of sensitive data which they were supposed to protect because they have collected it from their clients, and in some cases finally the ransomware was also deployed, and then it affected their services. So for that also they actually lost their clients, and in most of the cases finally after the incident, as I already told you, because of the regulatory mechanism in place, they have to finally hire a person who does the the incident response, they have to hire somebody who does the forensics, they have to submit a report to the SEBI, and finally for not doing all the compliances which they were supposed to do, a lot of fine, etc., is also likely to be imposed by the regulators. We have seen actually these kinds of things happening. So instead of basically having to spend a lot of money post facto, it's better to find out ways where we, by spending incrementally, we can actually keep them safe. So that is something which I have seen closely, and we do tell those entities to actually do it that way. Similarly, if you go to the banking space, for example, several non-banking financial companies reported unauthorized account access and fraud due to stolen browser credentials harvested by Redline and Azoralt. These are the name of the info stealers, and more than 12 crore was misappropriated. So that kind of losses are actually happening, and this is just an illustration of the things which I have already spelled out in a more generic way. Now, what are the emerging trends in info stealer campaigns? This malware as a service, I think I have already covered. Credential ecosystem fueling ransomware. Now, this is again, I have already talked it in a sense that there are different criminal groups doing different things. So here what happens is that the one who makes the malware is one, and then basically you sell the credentials to somebody else, and then the people who are doing the ransomware, they do two things. They take ransomware also as a service, and they use these credentials to go to your Active Directory or to go to your admin systems, and from there they basically are deploying the ransomware to actually encrypt your systems. And because then you are forced, because so long as there is a silent stealing, you don't feel it. But the day the ransomware is deployed, all your operations stop. So that then you are basically very desperate. And we have heard of a lot of cases where the businesses have had to pay money because otherwise they lose everything. So that is, so if you reach that stage, then you end up paying a lot more than if you basically invest in doing something preemptive or something protective. Phishing, I think we have already talked about. I think what the most recent trend is now that they are also trying to attack the cloud service providers, your mobile phones, and now they are using a lot of AIML techniques to evade detection. So normally you will use antivirus, or you will use the endpoint detection and response system to detect these info stealers or the malwares, but now they are using advanced evasion techniques, using the advancement in technology, so that your normal antiviruses and ED are also not able to detect it. So that is where the role of the Security Operations Center and looking at all your events and logs in entirety to detect threats comes in, to be able to handle such situations. Now, I've briefly tried to present to tell about our preparedness, but I think since people are from the trade and industry, so they would be very well knowing where they stand. So I would not like to say much about it, but what we feel is that there's not enough attention to the improving the cybersecurity posture, even where it is essential for you as a business unit. And then some basic things which I would like to say is that there are certain basic things which doesn't cost you much and which are easy to implement. If you can at least do that, then you get a lot of, if I am able to plot certain things which you do and the kind of incremental improvement in posture is concerned, there are a lot of things which you can do. For example, the credentials management. If you can actually ensure that your passwords are complex, if you can actually ensure that your passwords are changed after a certain interval, if you can adopt multi-factor authentication, which doesn't cost you much. Let me tell you, the incremental improvement in security posture would be something like 70% or so, because most of the breaches which we have investigated, somewhere or the other, these credential stealings are there, and in many cases where people have followed very strong password protection policies and all, the threat actors have not been able to finally, they may have, so for example, they may be in a position to deploy ransomware, and even if they are one more delayed and your day for changing the password comes, you change the password, now he has to start everything afresh. So there are a lot of things which you would be able to do if which you can do, which is quite doable, provided we put due emphasis on this. And we at NCFP, at least my emphasis always has been to look at these lower cost-effective methods of improving your cybersecurity posture, because we can understand that if you have to maintain competitiveness and etc., then all the businesses entities cannot basically invest and things like that. Then incident response capabilities, most of the people don't have it. Here even I would say even some of the large entities do not have the kind of incident response capabilities which you should have. So defense strategy, some of these things I've already talked about. Password, if you can manage your passwords well, even if you don't resort to multi-factor authentication, not using the same passwords at all places. Then another thing which I've noticed, which is not there in this slide, but I would like to talk about, is a lot of these, in these days, a lot of these business entities, they allow this policy of bring your own devices just to ensure convenience. Now work from home and everything has come. So you allow anybody to log into your systems from anywhere. So here if you don't, and if you are allowing them to come from anywhere, then the threat actor also can come from anywhere. So you should have, if you are allowing people to work from home or bring your own devices to your, connect to your servers, etc., then you should have a good bring your own device policies, which are not very difficult to implement, in the sense that you can say that if this is a person, if this is his user ID password, he can log into my systems only if he has the particular device ID also. So you basically allow him to only latch on through a particular machine, and with that user ID and password, you also check whether he is also coming from that same machine or not, and then you allow him to onboard. So those kind of simple things also, if you implement, you actually your incremental security goes up like anything. Of course, EDR deployment is something. EDR is basically much better than the antiviruses, because antiviruses do signature-based detection, whereas EDR also do behavior-based detection. The cyber hygiene I've already said. Of course, threat intelligence and awareness. So use of, if you have good dark web monitoring solutions, then that is something where you can know whether your credentials have been leaked or not, and you can take timely inputs. And there's, of course, awareness is something where we can do a lot. If you can keep your employees aware, that also basically helps you a lot. And that is, I think, one of the again, a low-cost thing which we need to do. Conclusions and way forward. Info stealers are ubiquitous. Indian industry is at high risk. We need to adopt the policy of being resilient and also cater to the security, and foster the cybersecurity awareness culture. And I must compliment IPF for doing this. This is basically a step in that direction, and JITO also need to be complimented for basically trying to do the things which I think is the most important thing. Now, coming to the last two slides, what the police or the law enforcement agencies can do. I think the MHA now has come up with this concept of cyber commandos, where they have selected a lot of people from different police forces and the central police organizations who have this tech background, and they are trying to train them so that they are able to understand these kind of threats, participate in awareness campaign, and also help in the incident response kind of a thing. So as sir was also saying, this is a way to even improve the image of the police. If we can have good incident response teams which can help those entities who do not have the capability to be able to basically respond to, for example, a ransomware attack, or even if they are in a lot of cases, for example, the national level agency, they alert a particular entity that you are infected. Now they don't know what to do after that. So they have to actually hire a consultant who charges a lot of money and things like that. So there again, if the police is able to connect them to the people, or the trade organizations are able to connect them to people, so that is something which would be of great help. Easy registration of FIRs where it is needed to get insurance and things like that. Help spread awareness. This is something which the police can do a lot, because finally all kinds of information, all kinds of cases are registered here. So even if you can't do anything to a particular victim, at least if you are able to know this has happened and spread in the locality and prevent other spread, so that's again something which is a great service. The other important thing which can be done, which some of the advanced countries are doing, is to share the cyber threat intelligence. You have MISP platforms and things like that, where you can basically get cyber threat intelligence from various sources, including the national agencies, and you can basically pass it on through online mechanisms to the industry and trade bodies so that they can basically make use of it, because a lot of these trade and industry units may not be having enough money to buy these threat intelligence from the big corporates. And then passing central information to central agencies in time. This is what we have been trying, because we have a lot of visibility into what is happening in the critical information infrastructure entities, but these threat actors, before targeting them, also test their malwares on a lot of subsidiary entities. So if, and those are not reported to us. So if the state police and all can collect information and tell to us, then probably we would get to know what the attacker is trying to do much before they can enter our critical information infrastructure. So that way, again, this is something which helps both of us. The other thing which I have not listed out is where when we can do operations like what recently the Europol and the Interpol did an operation called Endgame, where more than 10,000 command and control servers of the info stealers could be seized. So what happens is that since I told you that these threat actors may be located somewhere, they may be using the IT infrastructure of some other places and things like that. So what this Europol and Interpol did is that they collected a lot of information about who these criminal actors are, what kind of infrastructure are they using, for example, and what kind of VPNs you are using. For example, they may be having VPN servers in Germany. They may be using IT infrastructure of some other countries. So once they collect all these informations, then they ask the concerned police. For example, if the VPN service providers are in Germany, then they would take warrants and ask the German police to actually seize all those infrastructures. So those kind of coordinated operations, I think that is the ultimate thing. I've listed only those which we can start with, but the ultimate aim for the police should be to be able to identify these gangs and disrupt them, because only when those people are obliterated from the system, then only the crime would go down. And there, sir, my experience was it remains the same. Whatever amount of protective measures you may take, unless you decimate the gangs, the crime is not going to come down. That premise remains the same. Now, coming to what the trade and industry organizations can do, spread awareness, we have talked about, improve cyber hygiene. This also I have emphasized, implement strong password policy and multi-factor authentication. I would like to cover only this, start community-based cybersecurity services. This is where the organizations can do. And for example, the security operations center, where you monitor all your logs, you configure threat models to find out whether your systems are infected or not. Now, individual entities के लिए ये संभव नहीं है कि वो सब लोग अपनी अपनी SOC लगाएं. It becomes cost prohibitive and things like that. But for example, in SEBI, what we have been now doing is that a lot of these brokers, they were not having SOC. So we have asked the National Stock Exchange and the Bombay Stock Exchange to build a community SOC whose services the individual brokers can take, and the cost to them then becomes much more bearable. So those kind of community services, and then there the police and these industry organizations can actually collaborate and do something. Telangana Police, sir, is doing some good thing in this direction in terms of building these community incentives. Then shared incident response capabilities. Again, having dedicated incident response team at one organization may not be possible, but if the trade organization at a central place has an incident response team which can go to these individual entities, maybe you can take some subscription from all of them, which would be quite less, because somebody may never need of them and somebody may need it. So if that kind of a thing is done and that common incident response facilities is done, then that is something which will help you. Then shared threat intelligence collection and dissemination. See, all the entities, if they just report what is happening to them and they are collaborated at a central place and disseminated back to the entire industry, and there are platforms like MIST which are able to do it. So that kind of an initiative also, if you can do, there also the agencies like NCIPC and CERTIN can help you in passing the information two-way. So that is something which you can do. Then as far as ransomware is concerned, one way to avoid ransomware is to be prepared against ransomware. The best thing is to have a proper backup, so that when the ransomware takes place, you can basically again start your thing from the golden images and from the backup data. So there again, we can have shared backup facilities or some cloud facilities where everything can be backed up, whoever wants it, and the community basically manages it so that the cost comes down. So I have just was thinking about this last night, and these are some of the initiatives which I thought would be relevant for the organizations like JITO, and also I thought I would just list them. Thank you all, and I can take the question answers later on or during the panel discussion. Thank you.
Obliterating the gangs altogether. In fact, these kind of people can serve as a promising way in regard of the subject being discussed. Thank you very much, sir, for that deeply insightful session that we just heard from you. I'm sure everyone today will walk away with not just awareness, but a renewed sense of urgency to safeguard our systems and data. So as we move on to the next session, I'll be inviting Lieutenant General Dr. Rajesh Pantji, who is a renowned cybersecurity expert and former National Cybersecurity Coordinator under the PMO, who helped India rise to the 10th place in the UN Global Cybersecurity Index. He's an IIT Kharagpur alumnus with a PhD in Information Security. He has a distinguished 41-year Army career and has been honored multiple times by the President of India. He has represented India at major global forums and now chairs the Cybersecurity Association of India and India Future Foundation. He will speak on strengthening India's cybersecurity ecosystem through public-private partnership. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll have a big round of applause as we welcome Lieutenant General Dr. Rajesh Pant.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, let me thank JITO and the Indian Police Foundation for giving me this privilege. Special thanks to Shri Jain and Shri OP Singh. Last couple of years, I've had a close association with the police, having spent 5 years in the National Security Council Secretariat under Shri Doval, and we were rubbing shoulders with Naveen Kumar Singh and all the other officers that are there in the NSCS. Let me take off from where Shri Naveen has left, so that there is some continuity in the thought as far as the listeners are concerned. He mentioned, firstly, it is an excellent base that he has made for today's discussion. He's oriented us towards all the facets of cybersecurity. He mentioned the Digital Personal Data Protection Act. Most of you would be aware that on 12th of August last year, the President has given consent to this act, and the rules will be coming out very soon. There will be a time period of 18 months to 24 months for it to be implemented by the industry. But the fine that he mentioned goes up to 250 crores for the industry if adequate cybersecurity measures have not been taken. Now, what are those adequate cybersecurity measures is something that the industry has to understand. Do you have a chief information security officer? Do you have a data protection officer? What are the processes that you have put? What is the technology that you are using? What is the framework that you are using? So there is a lot in this subject to understand for the industry, for it to ensure that adequate cyber security measures have been made. So I thought I'll just leave this point. The second aspect of the ransom as a service, I'll give you an example. This happened about 2 years back. There's an insurance company. Its value is $10 billion. This is a real life case, right? It came under a ransomware attack. His main server and his disaster recovery site, both were encrypted. Because if anything is online, connected online, so they reached there. They encrypted everything. All their policies, all their documents, all their bills, they had nothing. From 10 billion, they came down to $0, the value of that company. So that is the impact, the financial impact that now the board has to understand in terms of risk management. कि क्या हम ये risk ले सकते हैं कि नहीं, अगर नहीं लेना है तो हमने क्या-क्या security measures इसके लिए करने हैं. So ransom as a service today, पहले क्या होता था कि only some technical people that he mentioned could carry out these attacks. Today, crime as a service has started. That means there's one person who's an expert in how to infiltrate into a system. There's one person who's an expert in the encryption part. There's one person who knows how to come out. There's one person who's an expert in the Bitcoin, how to make the money, where it goes. और हम लोगों ने 2-3 तो मैंने ही किए हैं इसमें negotiations. You suddenly find there's a negotiator that pops up. So he says, अच्छा ठीक है 1.5 Bitcoin नहीं देने तो आप 1 Bitcoin कर दिए. You don't know whose side, मतलब ये आपकी तरफ है कि उधर है कि बीच में है. So ये proper enterprise हो गया है. तो पहले जहाँ एक technically competent criminal ये करता था, now the criminal gangs all around the world, there could be in USA also, Russia also, Eastern Europe also, सब मिलके इन्होंने एक गैंग बना दिया है और ये क्राइम एज ए सर्विस कर रहे हैं. अब कहते हैं कि अच्छा ठीक है हमें आप 20% दे दीजिए बाकी आप ले लेना. एंड दे ऑल्सो नो हाउ मच रैंसम टू टेक फ्रॉम ईच कंपनी बिकॉज उसने साइबर इंश्योरेंस जो ले रखी है वो भी उसको हैक करके पता लगा रखा है. सो ही सेज फ्रॉम दिस कंपनी यू कैन टेक $100 million, फ्रॉम दिस कंपनी $50 million. So this is a very serious issue, right? Ransom as a service. Then last he spoke of resilience. That is very important. देखिए cyber space के there are 3 hard truths of cyberspace. Number 1 is that as long as we depend on software, because everything is software, as long as we depend on software, there will be vulnerabilities. कहीं ना कहीं आप उसमें flaw होगा software में जहाँ से आप अंदर जा सकते. As long as there are vulnerabilities, cyber attacks will take place. And the third hard truth is that the attribution of these cyber attacks, कि किसने किया, will be as difficult as what it is today. So, if you come to our National Informatics Center, यहाँ शास्त्री पार्क में इतना बड़ा डिजिटल बोर्ड वहाँ पे लगा हुआ है, उसमें पूरा वर्ल्ड का मैप है. वो दिखाता है apparently कि कहाँ से इंडिया में अटैक्स आ रहे हैं. And in that map you find 40% of the attacks are coming from USA, mainland US, 40%. But that is not the truth. The truth is कि USA में उसने एक सर्वर हायर किया हुआ है, VPS बोलते हैं उसको, वर्चुअल प्राइवेट सर्वर. उसके पीछे वो जर्मनी में उसने दूसरा सर्वर हायर किया है, उसके पीछे नेदरलैंड्स में हायर किया है, और लास्ट में वो जहाँ बैठा है वो तो इंडिया के आसपास ही है एक्चुअली फिजिकली. एंड इफ़ यू आस्क नाउ, इफ़ आई आस्क द US अमेजोन से मैं पूछता हूँ कि हु हैज़ पेड फॉर दिस सर्वर, वो कभी बताते नहीं, कहते प्राइवेसी लॉज हैं. उन्होंने अपने जो बॉस्टन में एक इनकी बॉस्टन मैराथन में एक केस हुआ था बॉम्बिंग का, उसमें एक मोबाइल फ़ोन मिला था. तो पीपल वांटेड टू नो कि इसमें मोबाइल फ़ोन के अंदर क्या है. वो माइक्रोसॉफ्ट ने नहीं बताया, कहते हैं नहीं ये तो प्राइवेसी लॉज में आते हैं, हम बता ही नहीं सकते आपको. फाइनली दे टुक द हेल्प ऑफ इजरायलीज, दे ब्रोक द मोबाइल फ़ोन एंड गिव द डेटा. बट व्हाट आई एम सेइंग इज कि एट्रीब्यूशन एज टू हु हैज़ कैरिड आउट द अटैक इज एक्सट्रीमली डिफिकल्ट. तो अगर ये हार्ड ट्रुथ्स होने हैं, सो द ओनली आंसर लाइज इन रेजिलियंस. And resilience comes from 4 alphabets, PPTC: people, process, technology and cooperation. People means आपके 2 टाइप के people हैं. एक तो हम लोग हैं जो उस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में वर्क करते हैं, और दूसरे जो साइबर स्किल्ड पीपल हैं जो आपको साइबर सिक्योरिटी दे रहे हैं, उनकी अपस्किलिंग, उनकी ट्रेनिंग. और जो नॉर्मल लोग हैं उनकी एजुकेशन एंड अवेयरनेस इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट एस्पेक्ट. दिस इज हाउ टू प्रिवेंट साइबर अटैक्स. यू शुड नॉट ऑलवेज रिएक्ट कि अटैक हो गया, पहले प्रिवेंशन करना है उसका. प्रोसेसेस में आता है आपने SOPs बनाई है कि नहीं, आपके पास साइबर क्राइसिस मैनेजमेंट प्लान है कि नहीं, आपने केपेबिलिटी मॉडल किया है कि नहीं, ऑडिट कर रहे हैं कि नहीं, VAPT कर रहे हैं कि नहीं. तो ये सारे जो आपके प्रोसेसेस हैं, आर दे इन प्लेस और नॉट. टेक्नोलॉजी में तो इट डिपेंड्स ऑन हाउ मच मनी यू हैव. इट स्टार्ट्स फ्रॉम एंड पॉइंट सिक्योरिटी. देयर इज अ कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ जीरो ट्रस्ट आर्किटेक्चर. ट्रस्ट नो वन, वेरीफाई एवरीथिंग. एंड पॉइंट सिक्योरिटी, नेटवर्क सिक्योरिटी, एप्लीकेशन सिक्योरिटी, आपकी क्लाउड सिक्योरिटी, ये सारे इसमें टेक्नोलॉजी में आ जाते हैं. देयर इज every day, things are changing with what you mentioned, AI and all that. And finally is the cooperation. This is very important. साइबर सिक्योरिटी में अगर आप एक फायरवॉल लीजिए, इट इज़ एक डब्बा है फायरवॉल, कुछ नहीं है उसमें. आपको उसमें बताना पड़ता है कि क्या ब्लॉक करना है और क्या अलाउ करना है. एंड क्या ब्लॉक करना है यू गेट फ्रॉम द थ्रेट इंटेलिजेंस, जो कि कोई सर्ट से आपको आ रहा है या कोई अलग कंपनीज हैं वो आपको बता रही हैं. सो ओनली व्हेन यू गेट द थ्रेट इंटेलिजेंस यू टेल दैट बॉक्स ब्लॉक दिस. And this is continuous. There are 4 lakh malwares created every quarter. 4 lakh malware. So continuous threat intelligence आना बहुत ज़रूरी है. उसके लिए cooperation. It's a very important part of ensuring resilience. PPTC ये अगर आप लोग याद रख लें तो I think मेरा justify हो जाएगा ये talk. So You mentioned artificial intelligence, machine language. आजकल हम लोग जो हैं 6th generation of cyber attacks में हैं. It is like 6G जैसे मोबाइल में है. तो फर्स्ट जनरेशन वो जब खाली कंप्यूटर आया था तो हमें कंप्यूटर बचाना था तो वी पुट एंटीवायरस, कंप्यूटर में एंटीवायरस डाल दो. Then the computers got connected, so we put a firewall, कि ठीक है वहाँ से. Then the application started, so we put intrusion. So like that, first generation, third, fourth, फिर mobile phone आ गए, फिर IoT devices connect हो गई, fifth generation. Now today's sixth generation is use of AI. तो आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस कैसे यूज़ हो रही है कि वो जो अटैकर आ रहा है वो आपके सेंस कर रहा है, अच्छा क्या क्या इसने डिफेंसेस लगा रखी हैं, और उसके हिसाब से ही इज़ चेंजिंग हिमसेल्फ इन रियल टाइम. ही इज़ चेंजिंग द malware so that it appears benefic and it passes through in that what I mentioned firewall. So sixth generation of cyber attacks are taking place today, very, very difficult to stop using all these artificial intelligence, this thing. Now let me come to this extremely well curated event जो आपने organize किया है. And when I say well curated means आपने पहले एक base बनाया है ताकि लोग cyber security समझ लें. उसके बाद now we are going to discuss the public-private partnership, which is very important. And cyberspace, there are 5 domains around us: land, air, sea, space and cyber. Sea और space में पता नहीं कितने गए हैं नहीं गए हैं, but every day जब आप वो मोबाइल फ़ोन अपनी पॉकेट से निकालते हैं, you are entering cyberspace, all of us. And you'll be surprised कि the average time an Indian spends in cyberspace is 6 hours every day, 6 घंटे. That is the average time. So इसमें चलिए प्रोटेक्शन तो अलग बात है, अभी तो हम बात करेंगे पब्लिक प्राइवेट पार्टनरशिप की. वर्ल्ड इकोनॉमिक फोरम ने बोला है दैट साइबर क्राइम इज द बिगेस्ट मैन मेड रिस्क टू द इकोनॉमिक प्रोग्रेस ऑफ नेशंस. एंड दे से दैट द कॉस्ट ऑफ साइबर क्राइम इज $10 ट्रिलियन. हमारी देश की इकॉनमी करीब 3.7 ट्रिलियन है. सो इट इज़ द थर्ड लार्जेस्ट स्टेट एक्चुअली इन द वर्ल्ड. USA, चाइना और तीसरा साइबर क्राइम. $10 ट्रिलियन का लॉस हो रहा है. और मतलब देयर आर कंट्रीज लाइक नॉर्थ कोरिया जिनके ऊपर आपने सैंक्शंस लगा दिए हैं, एंड दे हैव गॉट 10 बिलियन फ्रॉम साइबर क्राइम. तो पब्लिक डोमेन की बात मैं कर रहा हूँ, बाकी तो बोल नहीं सकता हूँ, बट दिस इज व्हाट इज हैपनिंग इन द वर्ल्ड, राइट. सो क्यों हो रहे हैं इतने साइबर क्राइम, क्यों हो रहे हैं, ये भी समझना ज़रूरी है. सो दैट इज़ माई स्टार्टिंग पॉइंट फॉर द टॉक टुडे कि फर्स्ट पॉइंट इज जियो पॉलिटिक्स. इट्स अ वेरी टर्बुलेंट ईयर. आप लोग रोज़ पेपर पढ़ते हैं, प्रेसिडेंट इन USA, सुबह उठो तो कुछ बोल रहा है, अगले दिन कुछ और. सो इट इज़ क्रिएटिंग अ लॉट ऑफ टर्मोइल, एंड दी साइबर क्रिमिनल्स दे लव टर्मोइल. इनको तो परफेक्ट स्टॉर्म मिल गया है. दूसरा क्या है, लड़ाइयाँ हो रही हैं, ईस्ट यूक्रेन, ऑप सिंदूर हमारा, मिडल ईस्ट क्राइसिस, अगेन देयर इज टर्मोइल. Third is international laws. I was a member of the UN group of government experts, which took 20 years to come out with 11 non-binding norms for responsible behavior by states in cyberspace. 20 साल लगे. वहाँ आप एक वर्ड बोलिए ट्रस्ट, तो चाइनीज़ खड़ा हो जाता है कि व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय ट्रस्ट, तो उस पर बहस शुरू हो जाती है. 20 years लगे, वो भी नॉन बाइंडिंग नॉर्म्स. तो लॉज तो कोई है ही नहीं. म्यूचुअल लीगल असिस्टेंट ट्रीटी आप ट्राई करिए. वो चेन्नई में सिटी यूनियन बैंक का दे लॉस्ट अबाउट 100+ करोड़. तो पूरा मतलब दिल्ली से आता है, फिर जज के पास जाओ, फिर ये करो, पुलिस स्टेशन. इट टुक अबाउट 120 days एंड वी न्यू वेयर द मनी हैड गॉन. दुबई में गया था, तो वहाँ जब हम पहुँचे तो कहते हैं सर सॉरी 90 days इज द मैक्सिमम लिमिट. 91st day ही हैड टेकन आउट द मनी. सो म्यूचुअल लीगल असिस्टेंट ट्रीटी में प्रॉब्लम्स हैं, वेरी टाइम कंज्यूमिंग. लेटर्स रोगेटरी भी है, वो भी काम नहीं करता है. तो इंटरनेशनल लॉज नहीं है. जियो पॉलिटिक्स, टर्मोइल, लैक ऑफ एट्रीब्यूशन, इंटरनेशनल लॉज. अब आ गई डार्क वेब. जो इंटरनेट में आप लोग मैसेजेस एक दूसरे को भेजते हैं और ये गूगल वी चैट वगैरह है, दैट इज़ ओनली 5% ऑफ द टोटल इंटरनेट इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर. 95% इज़ बिलो द सरफेस. दैट इज़ द डार्क वेब एंड द डीप वेब. वहाँ पे एनीथिंग रॉन्ग दैट यू कैन थिंक ऑफ एंड यू कांट इवन थिंक ऑफ ऑल्सो, क्योंकि हम लोग तो अच्छे सिटीजन हैं. एवरीथिंग रॉन्ग इज हैपनिंग देयर. आपको किसी को मरवाना है, आप चाहिए वहाँ पे. यू वांट टू बाय AK-47, यू कैन गेट इट. क्रेडिट कार्ड चाहिए आपको, डेबिट कार्ड चाहिए, पॉर्न, एवरीथिंग रॉन्ग इज हैपनिंग. एंड दैट इज़ एनोनिमाइज्ड. जो सरफेस वेब है जिसमें हम लोग और आप एक्सचेंज करते हैं इन्फॉर्मेशन, उसमें हर एक चीज़ इंडेक्स्ड होती है. एवरीथिंग इज ट्रेस्ड. तो व्हेन यू डू गूगल सर्च, उसको पता है कहाँ से इन्फॉर्मेशन लेनी है और आपको बता देता है वो. बट इन द डार्क एंड डीप वेब इट इज़ एनोनिमाइज्ड. जानबूझ के वहाँ आपको पता नहीं कौन क्या पूछ रहा है, क्या मांग रहा है. आपके घर में होम डिलीवरी हो रही है ड्रग्स की. द रीज़न फॉर दैट इज दिस एनोनिमाइज्ड. उनका सिस्टम ही अलग है, कुछ अलग अलग नोड्स बना रखे हैं उसमें. So this is why cybercrime is taking place. Lack of attribution and all these things, right? So, as I said, resilience is going to be very important. And as far as now we are concerned, and this topic of public-private partnership, this is very important. In fact, I am chairman of Cybersecurity Association of India. हमारे president और director general भी यहाँ बैठे हैं. And one of the reasons we created this CSI was when I was in the chair in NSCS, I found कि cyber security में किससे बात करूँ मैं private sector में. I mean the closest I found was Data Security Council of India. बड़ा अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं वो लोग. CII का एक सेल है छोटा सा. PhD का भी एक दो सेमिनार्स करते रहते हैं ये लोग. So there was no association. Everyone has an association today. Automobile Association, डॉक्टर्स का है, डेंटिस्ट का है, सबका है. तो ऐसे ही साइबर सिक्योरिटी इंडस्ट्री तो अभी इंडिया में काफ़ी हो गई है. ये भी कंपनी के बैठे हैं, पैराडाइम IT कंपनी साइबर सिक्योरिटी वाले हैं. एक मैनेज इंजन करके है, जोहो ने बनाया है. और मैं एक एडवाइज़र हूँ एक और कंपनी का, ग्रामैक्स करके GMR ग्रुप की. बहुत कंपनीज हो गई हैं साइबर सिक्योरिटी, बट उनका एसोसिएशन कहाँ है? सो द मोमेंट आई केम आउट वी क्रिएटेड दिस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. पहले से बना हुआ था, हम लोगों ने थोड़ी और स्ट्रेंथ दे दी है उसको. और अब हम अवेयरनेस कर रहे हैं. We have got government people with us, we've got academia, we've got industry, and when we now prepare a paper and present it to the government, अब लोग सुनने लग गए. So that is, I thought I'll just explain कि PPP is very important. And I'll go over the slides कि हमारा present cyber security system, ये CERT की वो ली हुई है, उसमें figures जो लिए हैं, 20 lakh cases were reported last year, cyber incident. और साइबर क्राइम जो यहाँ होता है, देर आर अबाउट 6,500 पीपल लूजिंग मनी एवरी डे हु आर रिपोर्टिंग टू cybercrime.gov.in या 1930 वाला जो हेल्पलाइन. 6,500 तो ऑफिशियल फिगर है. एक्चुअल इज मच मोर, जिनको पता ही नहीं कि मतलब कहाँ रिपोर्ट करना है, क्या है. वेरी वेरी सीरियस इशू. साइबर क्राइम ऑल्सो एंड द नंबर ऑफ साइबर इंसिडेंट्स दैट आर टेकिंग प्लेस. एंड एवरीथिंग इज बीइंग I did the inquiry for the AIMS case also. हॉस्पिटल सेक्टर तो बहुत ही है, बिकॉज उनको पता है कि कौन एकदम से क्राइसिस में आ जाएगा. वहाँ हो रही है सर्जरी किसी के ICU में, आपने वो कर दिया साइबर अटैक, दे विल पे इमीडिएटली, राइट. सो दे नो बैंक्स, पूरी रेपुटेशन का लॉस है बैंक्स में. सो हॉस्पिटल, बैंक्स, हेल्थ केयर एंड ऑल, दीज आर दी प्राइम टारगेट्स. सो एंड आई हैव मेंशन्ड दिस, द टेक्नोलॉजीज दैट आर बीइंग adopted, and what have we done as a nation? 27th September last year, गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया का एक नोटिफिकेशन आया था जिसमें एलोकेशन ऑफ बिजनेस रूल्स डिफाइन किए थे. उसमें बोला गया था कि इंसिडेंट रिस्पॉन्स विल बी द रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ऑफ मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स एंड IT, बिकॉज सर्ट इन जो हमारी नेशनल कंप्यूटर इमरजेंसी रिस्पॉन्स टीम है, दैट इज अंडर MIT. सो इंसिडेंट रिस्पॉन्स इज द रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ऑफ MIT. Network security is the responsibility of Department of Telecom, because they are the licensor and the licensee agreement उनका telecom service providers के साथ होता है, तो they are responsible for network security. The responsibility of cyber crime is with the Ministry of Home Affairs, because they have the Indian Cyber Crime Coordination Center. The excellent IPS officer Shri Rajesh Kumar is leading that with his 7 verticals. And they have regional cybercrime coordination centers, करीब 9 स्टेट में एस्टैब्लिश हो गया है. एंड देन एवरी डिस्ट्रिक्ट हैज़ अ साइबर क्राइम सेल. सो एक उनका ऑर्गेनाइजेशन धीरे धीरे वो बनता जा रहा है. दिस इज अगेन अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पुलिस जॉब दैट इज टेकिंग प्लेस. एंड द फाइनल कोऑर्डिनेशन अमंगस्ट ऑल दीज एंड द स्ट्रेटेजिक साइबर सिक्योरिटी इज द रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ऑफ द नेशनल सिक्योरिटी काउंसिल सेक्रेटेरिएट, वेयर आई वाज देयर. सो कोऑर्डिनेशन अमंगस्ट ऑल दीज डिफरेंट एजेंसीज and the strategic coordination. So this is our structure. Let me come to the next slide. Now, what are the problems? Because I have been asked to speak, so I must say that with the present concept that I just mentioned, problems क्या हैं कि government agencies and private companies often operate in isolation. Let me take out my slides I've got here also. Yeah. So, is DG NCIPC here or not? Or has he left, Naveen? Okay, okay, because I don't want to offend him. He does a very good job of handling the critical sector. India, Government of India has defined 7 critical sectors, which include power, telecom, energy sector, transportation sector, health sector, and BFSI and the government sector. तो ये 7 sectors जो हैं, ये Government of India ने बोला है, ये critical sectors हैं. Because if everything is critical, then nothing is critical. So these 7 sectors में तो हमने एक नया organization बनाया है, which is headed by Shri Naveen Kumar Singh, National Critical Information Infrastructure Protection Center. So he does a good job with these 7 sectors. But then what about the others? आजकल, is there any sector which is not critical? You tell me. Take education sector for example. आपका nationwide joint entrance exam हो रहा है, वो किसी ने कर दिया DDoS attack से, वो हल्ला मच जाएगा. Water, there have been cases of water poisoning. USA में every sector today because of the automation. अभी सब लोग ने technology use कर ली है. जहाँ आपने technology use करी, आपका threat surface बढ़ गया. So every sector is critical. So the first point that I'm saying is that what about the other sectors? Who is handling the cyber security of that? Who's for the health sector? There is not even a regulator also. Most important sector, right? So there is no consistent institutional platform for real-time threat intelligence. Who is going to give that threat intelligence to now the private sector? The threat intelligence that I mentioned is so important for your protection. उनको कौन देगा? There is a CISO network I know. CERT-IN का एक CISO is Chief Information Security Officer. He is connected to about 700 CISOs of the industry. So वो उसको जो मिलता है बाहर से वो he does push it out. Sometimes on email and sometimes on a format which is called sticks format. वो directly उसके system में ingest हो जाता है. तो वो कर रहे हैं, लेकिन 700 ही हमारी industry है क्या? I mean, there are many, much more. So a lot of effort has to be done. Then cyber security standards vary widely across sectors. We currently have a shortage of 1 million trained cybersecurity professionals. 1 million. So this is a very important aspect. Cyber की आपकी जो skill councils बनी है, उसमें cyber security की skill council नहीं है. तो कहाँ से उनको training हो रही है? Skilling कहाँ हो रही है उसकी? And although laws like the DPDP Act have been passed, their enforcement remains weak. So this is a problem for all laws. I can't speak to police people about enforcement of laws. Okay. So government agencies and private companies often operate in isolation. This is what I told you. The starting point of हम लोगों का association बनाने का यही है कि मतलब every man for himself हो रहा है, every industry for himself. कोई ऐसा coordination नहीं है. So there is no consistent institutional platform. Standards का मैंने बताया. अच्छा ये this. तो US बाकी लोग क्या कर रहे हैं? US में CISA जो है उनकी Cyber Security and Infrastructure Security Agency that closely deals with private critical infrastructure sectors to safeguard national interest. और उनके sectors करीब 16 हैं, 16 sectors उन्होंने बनाए हैं जो कि important है. That includes everything that I said, water and all. UK में जो National Cyber Security Center वहाँ मैं गया हूँ, that has a very good concept. एक उन्होंने ecosystem बनाया है कि National Cyber Security Center में कोई सर्व कर रहा है, उसके बाद वो ब्रिटिश टेलीकॉम में जाके नौकरी करने लग जाता है साइबर सिक्योरिटी में ही. फिर उसके बाद वो यूनिवर्सिटी में चला जाता है, कैम्ब्रिज में साइबर सिक्योरिटी पढ़ा रहा है. फिर उसके बाद वो उनके डिफेंस सर्विसेज में कॉन्ट्रैक्टर जो लेते हैं बाहर से, वहाँ चले जाता है. सो दे हैव क्रिएटेड अ इकोसिस्टम वेयर साइबर सिक्योरिटी प्रोफेशनल्स कैन रोटेट इन डिफरेंट सेक्टर्स एंड शेयर नॉलेज एंड थिंग लाइक दैट. सो दिस इज सम एग्जांपल्स दैट different countries are following. Okay. So what am I proposing? I have got 10 points, which I do not know if you make a report in the seminar or not, but it will be good if, from the side of your organization also, we can collaborate with you, that report can be sent. तो एक तो ये है कि sectoral cyber security councils होनी चाहिए. Why sectoral? Let's take power sector. Now power sector का, every sector has a different concept. उनका क्या है? Transmission, distribution, ग्रिड ऑपरेशंस, नॉन रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी, जो उसमें इक्विपमेंट लगता है, स्काडा सिस्टम्स होते हैं, स्काडा है सुपरवाइजरी कंट्रोल एंड डेटा एक्विजिशन, उसमें PLCs लगते हैं, प्रोग्रामेबल लॉजिक कंट्रोलर्स और ट्रांसमिशन लाइन, तो उनका हाउ टू प्रोटेक्ट दैट सिस्टम इज टोटली डिफरेंट फ्रॉम द बैंकिंग सेक्टर. बैंकिंग में आपका कोर बैंकिंग सिस्टम इज द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग, कि उसको कैसे प्रोटेक्ट करना है. टेलीकॉम में कुछ अलग ही है उनका, 5G कैसे प्रोटेक्ट करना है. सो sector skill, I'm not saying skill council, but cyber security councils have to be there, where private sector is there और गवर्नमेंट का रेगुलेटर. ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. दूसरा एक प्लेटफॉर्म होना चाहिए नेशनल लेवल पे, वेयर वी कैन एक्सचेंज इंफॉर्मेशन, वी कैन एक्सचेंज थ्रेट इंटेलिजेंस, वी कैन एक्सचेंज ऑल दी स्टैंडर्ड्स क्या क्या हैं अलग अलग तरह के. कोई तो प्लेटफॉर्म होना चाहिए वेयर आई कैन गो टू एंड द प्राइवेट सेक्टर और उसके साथ काम. देन इज डेवलप साइबर सिक्योरिटी क्लस्टर्स एंड इनोवेशन जोन. तो वंस आई हैड गॉन टू इजराइल, वहाँ इजराइल में एक जगह है, बीर शिबा नाम है उसका, where they have created a cyber spark बोलते हैं उसको. So innovation, cyber security innovation center is there, Israeli defense forces are there, Ben Gurion University is there, एक वो मेट्रो स्टेशन भी है वहाँ पे. मतलब जितने स्टेक होल्डर्स हैं साइबर सिक्योरिटी के, एवरीबॉडी इज देयर फिजिकली इन वन जियोग्राफिकल एरिया. जैसे हमारे यहाँ नोएडा में भी somebody is trying to make a cluster like that. So if you have a problem, आप वहाँ जाइए उनके साइबर सिक्योरिटी के सेंटर ऑफ एक्सीलेंस में, तो वो फट से मॉडल बना देते हैं कि अच्छा ये करते हैं वो करते हैं, उसको वहाँ टेस्ट कर लो, एकेडेमिया से कंफर्म करा लो कि ये वर्केबल है कि नहीं. सो दिस इज हाउ इनोवेशन टेक्स प्लेस. सो दीज क्लस्टर्स इफ वी कैन मेक, आई थिंक इट मे गिव द रिजल्ट. देन फ्रीक्वेंट शेयर होल्डर स्टेक होल्डर मीटिंग्स, दिस इज ऑफ कोर्स नॉर्मल दिस थिंग. लॉन्च जॉइंट स्किलिंग एंड सर्टिफिकेशन प्रोग्राम्स. साइबर सिक्योरिटी अलग अलग प्राइवेट लोगों ने बना रखे हैं अपने, क्या स्टैंडर्ड है उनका. देर आर सम CISSP एंड इंफॉर्मेशन सिक्योरिटी प्रोफेशनल, अलग अलग स्टैंडर्ड्स हैं, बट दे ऑल फॉरेन. हमें अपना अगर बना लें अपने स्टैंडर्ड्स, आई थिंक इट्स अ गुड आइडिया. इनेबल डायरेक्ट इंजेक्शन ऑफ थ्रेट इंटेलिजेंस स्टिक्स फॉर्मेट दैट आई मेंशन्ड, जिसमें स्टिक्स और एक दूसरा है टैक्सी फॉर्मेट होता है. उसमें अगर आप भेजें थ्रेट इंटेलिजेंस, तो वो डायरेक्टली सिस्टम में इंजेस्ट हो जाती है. इंस्टेड ऑफ अगर ईमेल आई फिर उसको कॉपी करो फिर अपने सिस्टम में पेस्ट करो. Instead of that, I think this is a better idea. Then, of course, response RVDP program. So I find हमारे देश में बहुत सारे देशभक्त हैं जो कि फौज में नहीं हैं, IPS में नहीं हैं, बट देश के लिए करना चाहते हैं. So ये DG NCIPC बड़ा अच्छा प्रोग्राम एक करते हैं RVDP का, जिसमें कोई भी, और नॉर्मली ये लोग बड़े यंग लोग इसमें रिस्पॉन्ड करते हैं कि आपको कहीं भी कोई वल्नरेबिलिटी मिलती है सॉफ्टवेयर में, जो मैं बता रहा था, तो ये लोग बड़े स्मार्ट हैं, अपने देखते रहते हैं, अच्छा ये प्रोग्रामिंग भी पता है इनको, तो जहाँ इनको मिलती है तो ये यहाँ आके रिपोर्ट करते हैं कि ये आपके मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ सोशल वेलफेयर में ये करो तो ये हो जाता है. तो वो फिर करेक्ट भी करते हैं उसको, एंड बाद में एक एनुअल हम लोग फंक्शन करते थे जिसमें हम उनको अवार्ड भी देते थे, कहीं कहीं पैसे भी देते हैं. पैसे तो वैसे सिविल में अगर आप गूगल के प्लेटफॉर्म में वल्नरेबिलिटी ढूंढ लें, आपको $1 million मिलेंगे, at least $1 million, if you find a vulnerability in these big platforms like Microsoft, Google and all that. So RVDP is again one of those issues. Then conduct cyber hygiene campaign for citizens, जो वो बता रहे थे सोसाइटी वाला, that's very important. It has to be something like वो जो 2 बूंद पोलियो वाली जो होती थी, every Sunday अमिताभ बच्चन आ रहा है, ये आ रहा है. So that is the importance we have to give. इतने लोगों का पैसा जा रहा है, आई एम टेलिंग यू, every day I get about 8 to 10 calls of pensioners और aged लोग, और नॉर्मली सैटरडे को करते हैं, उनको पता है बैंक की हेल्पलाइन भी रिस्पॉन्ड नहीं करेगी, और एजेड लोग डर भी जाते हैं बड़ी जल्दी. सो दे आर नॉट हैकिंग द सिस्टम नाउ, दे आर हैकिंग द ब्रेन. वो आपका दिमाग हैक कर रहे हैं डरा के. ठीक है, ओके. एंड आई थिंक द लास्ट फ्यू पॉइंट्स आर leverage industry associations that I just mentioned, and of course revive the national cyber response. एक पहले एक incident response framework होता था, where everyone could exchange information and all stakeholders, something like what I mentioned earlier. So these were some of the issues I thought that we could examine, and for the public-private partnership. To conclude again, remember what the reasons that I mentioned, कि रेजिलियंस जो है, वी हैव टू एक्सपेक्ट कि ये साइबर अटैक्स हमारे ऊपर आते रहेंगे. दैट इज इट्स अ गिवन कि दिस इज यू हैव टू बी प्रिपेयर्ड. आपके मोबाइल फ़ोन में भी, आपके कंप्यूटर में भी आते रहेंगे. इट्स नॉट अ क्वेश्चन ऑफ इफ़ यू आर हैक्ड, इट्स वेदर यू नो इट और नॉट. तो अगर ये सिचुएशन है तो हमें क्या प्रिवेंशन के लिए करना है? वो जो 4 शब्द मैंने बोले थे, पीपल, प्रोसेस, टेक्नोलॉजी एंड कोऑपरेशन एट ऑल लेवल्स. सो विद दैट आई विश यू अ साइबर सेफ life, and thank you very much for this honor. Jai Hind.
Thank you for that insightful and thought-provoking address on strengthening India's cybersecurity ecosystem through public-private partnerships. Your expertise has highlighted not only the challenges we face in the digital domain, but also the immense potential of collaborative efforts between the government and private sector. We are inspired to think more proactively about cybersecurity resilience. Thank you, sir, for addressing us. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, as we move forward, and we are now inviting our third speaker for this third session, Dr. Vijay Rai, who is the Chief Growth Officer, APAC, and board member at Day One Technologies, an AI-driven tech firm. With nearly 30 years of leadership experience across AI, IoT, energy, telecom, and consulting, he has held senior roles including MD APAC and EMEA, and CEO of PowerCon, a renewable energy company. A strong advocate for sustainability and policy, Dr. Rai has represented India at international platforms on clean energy and SDGs, served on the World Bank's Ease of Doing Business Task Force, and contributed to bodies like CII, ASSOCHAM, and NHRDN. A UN Green Ambassador and award-winning leader, his accolades include the Green Star Award, Outstanding CEO Award, and Leader of Eminence. Today, he's going to speak on securing India's payment systems in the 21st century. We look forward to your valuable perspectives now. Please join hands in welcoming Dr. Vijay Rai on the dais. Ladies and gentlemen, तालियों के साथ अभिनंदन, Dr. Vijay Rai.
Jai Hind and Namaskar to everyone. I think it's been a very busy day in the morning talking about such a serious issue on cyber. But firstly, let me thank the organizers, Mr. Jain, JITO, and the entire team, which has done a fantastic job of putting this program and structure in place. And I'm privileged and honored. I'm not an expert on cyber, but I would like to share some views and experiences based on experience, which I have put in for about 30 years and into multilateral organizations across India and the world. And so speaking after stalwarts like General Pant and the other speakers who have been there, I think it's a very tough task. And being a speaker in the end is also like, easy to an extent and tough to an extent also, because you either repeat what has been said or recycle what has been said or try and put your some high-level points. But I think the session has gone very well because General Pant has outlined some of the important 10-point suggestions, which is also very important. And at the industry level, we talk too much, and at the policy level, also we talk many things of this nature. But I was a part of G20 for 11 months, and I will tell you one thing. The day the website was launched, we have 16 lakh cyber attacks per minute. 16 lakh, and I'm not saying this because it is my data point, it is on record, just Google it. Cyber attacks on G20 website, you'll find 16 lakh cyber attacks per minute. And that day, the important meeting was happening actually. Also, an IC4 and all that meeting was happening. So what does that say? That governments are under attack, citizens are under attack, and everybody's under attack. So who is under threat? Everyone. So is it not everyone's responsibility? It is. So it is not police, it is not industry, it is not the victim, it is not the perpetrator, or it is not my son, your son, grandson, or senior people, marginalized people, vulnerable people of all kinds are under some kind of threat, known or unknown. And believe me, one important statistics which I would like to say, very important, everyone knows. Am I safe? And how safe am I is a big question today. Safe from what, right? Most of the cyber threats which happen or are happening, most of the people are not aware. 70 to 80% of the threats, people are not aware. Maybe more, the statistics can be even more. So threat landscape will always be there, because there is a great saying that if you develop technology, you will also develop monsters. So you need to really address those monsters on the side, because the monsters are going to be becoming more smarter and more advanced in kind of, and it is good for us, because as General Pant said that Google pays, if you are an ethical hacker, if you can just, crack a code or something, it will. Now, my area is artificial intelligence and deep technologies. But at the end of the day, we don't think in terms of technology alone. We think in terms of the entire world, entire operating system, whether it is a user, whether it is policy, whether it's a country, all kinds of things. So I've been given this topic about payment systems. So cybersecurity, I was been a part of Accenture worldwide global survey, and a global survey by another international body of about 28,000 people around the world from various organizations, from various societies and various sectors, government, private, etc. And that says that cybersecurity is at an inflection point. And every year, every month, it goes on changing. And every month, it takes a different shape. The profile of a cyber predator or perpetrator keeps changing every time. And they also keep changing faces, like a criminal will hide and kind of, take different forms. So there are a couple of things which I would not like to talk too much. This is a busy slide. I would like to just run through, because that's more important. So first thing which we found, that the world has become increasingly riskier and complex and very, very expensive and very costly to manage. And cybersecurity is just not become an IT issue, but it has to be a greater risk for the entire country and the business. And it requires attention not at the executive level, not at the people who are only managing IT, but this is a solid board agenda. And now the mandate is also started coming that every company, every institution of importance, or every business, I'm not discounting the small and medium enterprises. We seldom talk about those enterprises because we are only talking about listed enterprises, the larger enterprises, but the majority of the 97%, almost about 92% of the organizations fall into the small and medium enterprises. And they are easy targets for those attacks. And those attacks are happening not only at the senior level, at the higher level of the business value created, but at the end of the day, these attacks are led by what? These attacks are led by the digital revolution which is happening. An entire country, India, we have seen the digital stack, ONDC, we have seen the Digital India. And fortunately, I've been a part of first team member of the Digital India and Startup India and all that which happened in the country. And been a chairman of CII Technologies, Emerging Technologies for a couple of years. We've done a lot of multilateral, lot of cross-industry boot camps, innovation seminars, conferences. What we learn from all that is that every seminar teaches you something, but at the end of the day, if you don't really execute, innovation to execution is very, very important. And there we lack in India. Fortunately, I've been a senior scientific advisor with the Government of India's initiative under the Prime Minister's Council of Science and Technology, which is led by the Principal Scientific Advisor of the Government of India. And we were talking about mission mode programs on AI and quantum computing. We're talking about the energy transition. We're talking about grids, defense, police, modernization, all that, and how technology can be a force propeller, force multiplier, and at the same place, technology can be a tool or a guide or a aid to really help us make safe, secure, sustainable organizations and ecosystems in the country. So everything goes digital. So that's the first trend which we have seen. The world's businesses, 70 to 80% of the countries or businesses are all digitally moving forward to take advantage of this digital ride, and most of us are in a connected world. So accelerated digital transformation, or not transformation, I would say acceleration of digitization is one which is becoming. We've seen pandemic during the COVID. Though technology companies, a lot of people don't go to office, right? We can work from anywhere. But during pandemic, we realized that we can really work from anywhere if we really wish to. Not all organizations, but most of the organizations were all inside their homes, and things were working except the essential services. And so work become remote. The predators or the technology people working around the world, whether it's in Cambodia or in China or Vietnam or in Nigeria or wherever people are working, or whether Jamtara or whether it is any place where these people could be working from, people are having different jobs. They're doing different kinds of jobs. They're learning different skills, and most of the skills are free of cost. On the web provides you different skills, DIY, do it yourself. So you don't need to really learn these tricks from anywhere, but these kind of organizations are a factory to create cyber criminals and threats for the country. Fast forward, with involvement in the Digital Data Privacy Act and the bill which has come recently, we have done almost about 400 consultations with multiple partners, government, private, public, all of them. And many times the bill was kind of rejected because it was not foolproof. And in security, we always say that there's nothing called foolproof security. There will always be shades of gray. And we have to really find out how many shades of gray we can eliminate and how can we be closer to reality. So the GDPR rule was a reference point, and the EU was the front runner in that field. And I'm sure India has gone through all that exercise of understanding the best of the global data and privacy and concerns and systems, and also challenges. Today, one big point I wanted to say here before we talk about security, that data is supposed to be the national asset for our country. So data we have to treat as a national strategic asset. And one more thing, I'm also distinguished fellow with Center for Data and Knowledge Sovereignty, where we are talking about data samprabhuta, data sovereignty, and data and knowledge sovereignty, and how we can build that sovereignty and sovereign systems in the country where we know what is in our control, where data, what data. 4 things I would like to say here before I move forward is that one is the volume of data. The volume of data is multiplying every minute and every year we see multiple times, and faster than time, faster than last 20 years, what data was not there. Today, in 1 year, we've multiplied to that extent, by 100x, 500x. So volume of data, we have to be understanding that we are living in a kind of a dormant volcano where data is everywhere, and General Pant said that you're creating data every minute. Every second you're creating data. What data, quality of data, who owns that data? So data security, we have a Council of India, sir, Data Security Council of India. I'm sure you must be interacting with them. Doing a great job done by NASSCOM. And as industry leaders, most of the people now are very active. We have CISOs, we have now DPOs in place. Of course, we can debate about it, how DPOs are not trained and not prepared to really handle the task. But I think it's a great inflection point. That's the reason why I said it's riskier, it is complex, it is not easy, because as we speak about today, the next stage is also becoming more difficult. So work becomes riskier. Organizations are morphing into ecosystems because organizations have to move forward to work with networks and work with partners and also suppliers. In the payment system, we have that kind of ecosystem of suppliers. And the platform economy is going to be a bigger kind of opportunity. One is the risk part. The other is the opportunity part. And third thing, anybody who is not going to take advantage of that will be those who are complacent, who think that it is not my responsibility, I am not under threat, so I am safe. As long as I am safe, I don't need to bother about it. So that's the thing. And then the other thing is physical and digital worlds. The boundaries between physical and digital worlds have blurred to a great extent. And that's the reason why we have to be very much clear about what is the physical infrastructure, what is the digital infrastructure, what is infrastructure that we have not seen from our eyes. So cloud is not seen by you, but that's a great infrastructure. And we're looking in a multipolar world and also into multi-cloud world, not one cloud, in-premise cloud, private cloud, public cloud, and India is also thinking about having its Bharat cloud because we don't know where the data is going, and General Pant has rightly mentioned that it's a privacy law, and that's why a lot of these Amazons of the world, they will not be able to. So we work with Google's, Microsoft's, and all of the best people in the world, on all the cloud sector and technology, and the great amount of exchange and transformation and interaction happens within the groups which we have, because cloud is another which is great. CloudSec, as Mr. Jain was writing down that time, CloudSec, that incident which was narrated. So new technologies are emerging, and you will see that AI is going to change the game very fast. I will not talk too much about it right now, but cyber adversaries are also on the higher end because their innovation is not keeping pace with policy. That's one gap. Am I right, sir? Innovation not keeping pace with policy, and policy otherwise not keeping pace with innovation, because innovation will happen borderless, and the speed is very high. So this data, the volume of data and the transfer of data and the trading of data which is happening, legally, by the way, not illegally, legally, it has to happen, because if it's not happening, no trade will happen, no commerce will happen around the world. So the cross-border trade of data and that security of cross-border trade and transfer of data, that point of interaction, that point of interface, there a lot of crime is almost, people have not imagined the kind of crime is going to happen. Not only air, sea, and all that, maritime, security, Navy, Air Force, what we have seen today is all going to be affected by cyber, and also sabotage, which we don't rule out in the skies and in any other places. So cyber adversaries are up in arms, and we also see that regulations have also become much more complex, because we needs to balance with innovation and balance with business sustainability as well. AI adoption and AI automation will also kind of, to an extent, what suggestions which you were giving about millions of people, the shortage of people in cyber. Sir, AI is also going to take care of 50% of them, because cyber, is also going to get disrupted. It's not that it is emerging, so we have a shortage of people, but that phase, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, it is galloping at a very fast pace where AI is interfering, and that AI is writing code, AI is writing malware detection, anomaly detection, all the detection systems, endpoint security, zero trust architecture, and all that. And now we are talking runtime security and platforms, where we have a platform where I don't want to be bragging about it, but a platform where I can press one button and you can recover the entire data. So we are talking about resilience. We are not talking about building security for the day or for day after tomorrow or for next 1 year or 2 years. We're talking about continuous resilience. General Pant was mentioning about resilience. I wanted to just say this, that, what happens when there's a cyber strike which has happened, right? And then you're going to ask the question, how can I be safe, right? So already the damage has been done. So now we must have a proactive strategy, and a much more predictive and proactive strategy, where we need to build resilient systems and maturity models, the capability and maturity model to really innovate at the point of need and at the point of the problem which is happening. So resilience will help you to continue your business even if the strike has happened, so that your recovery time and your data recovery is at zero loss. So that's where the world is moving, where the interoperable multiple systems come together and work in under like a one box, one platform, and that technology solution, which maybe we'll discuss someday, that kind of technology solution will give you less than 2 minutes, you will recover, and it can be recovered from cloud, it can be shifted from your in-premise to cloud, and multiple platforms like 3, 2, 2, 2, 1 that we call, and 0, that's standard. And 70% it is happening on the backup systems, by the way. On your backup systems, the cyber criminals are targeting on your backup systems. Of course, the networks is also being challenged, because networks are all, and VPN, of course, the virtual private network is the great source where we can't decode that so easily. So AI is going to create, and 50% of the skills problem will also be solved by using AI, and AI will take over a lot of these jobs. And I'm talking about not AI, just AI, but agentic AI, AI agents. And AI agents will also work like humans. They also need permissions. Their prior authorization, prior all that, verifications also will be needed. So deep fakes combined with data breaches, another challenge, which is what I wanted to touch upon. Then let me move faster. AI agents, I have already talked. Then the boards are now worldwide, the latest advancement which is happening and which is already started happening. India is also going to roll out its first quantum computing. So quantum computer, come here, quantum computer, the skills and the requirements and the challenges will be of a different level. So now we are moving to that level where quantum is already knocking somewhere, right? The advancements are started happening. I was talking to IBM and other people, by the way, and the quantum head of the Ministry of Science and Technology. So a few days ago, I was speaking in a quantum conclave, and that was the discussion that quantum comes, it can break any kind of security password or anything. So that's the kind of speed and compute power and the kind of penetration that you have, where it can break any barriers. So that will also be a greater challenge. So are we really preparing in advance, or are we trying to maintain our legacy systems? Because we need to parallelly work on both, maintaining the existing systems, as well as also creating new innovations and new technologies and getting ready for the new wave and the new technology, which will also come in, and then we'll be able to, are you telling the time is over? No? Is it okay? So I will, because the subject was payments, so I will move to payments actually. So let me say payments. So this is, oh, it's not showing here. For your information, I made these slides while sitting here, by the way. So you can see at the point of need, right? Endpoint detection, bola aapne to, at the user need, I made it sitting over here. All these were made here, made in the sense I was not ready for it. So you can look at the entire payment ecosystem if you can. Can you see this? Yeah? India has become the global leader in providing digital payments. You can see the payment system, how we are operating here today. I may have left one or two things here, but I think we all are either acquirers. So those days, acquirers, issuers, merchants, and consumers. That was the legacy system. And the frauds were very less. Because we were new that ke kahan se kaun kya kar raha hai, kaun sa challenge hai. So we will all be able to understand, is room mein jitne log bhare hue hain, usi mein se koi hoga, right? So that was the universe, very, very predictable universe. Now when it happened on the internet, on the cloud, and the, one click of a button, you can do anything. You see how the system works. I'll also show you how the entire system of payment works, from credit card to your actually wallet. This is what India's digital wave has shown us. So I think this is just for your visuals, because it is self-explanatory. I don't need to spend too much of time. You can see everything is written in a way that it can be understood and seen and self kind of analyzed. The digital building blocks, how we really look at enabling the entire system in the digital transformation process, and why digital has got a boost. Sorry, this was a repeated slide. Payment options, you have seen the Visa, the RuPay, the American Express. Some of you are members, you must be carrying credit cards, right? Diners Club, MasterCard, and all of that. How the entire system works, I'll show you. So now this payment options could be debit, credit, prepaid cards, internet banking, mobile banking apps, IMPS, UPI. I'm sure you use IMPS very much, right? RTGS, IMPS, all of us use that systems. E-wallets and Aadhaar-enabled payments. Card acceptance channels, the point of sale, the card is accepted there. And at the point of sale also a lot of fraud happening, by the way. There's a point of sale card cloning, card skimming, and those frauds can also happen because you are busy kind of picking your stuff and putting the stuff in your cart by the time your card has been hacked and also cloned and skimmed, yeah? So a lot of these things are happening. Personal computer, point of sale, ATM, so through your commerce transactions, through your Amazons, through your eBays and all of them. And this is what ATM transaction flow, how ATM transactions work. If you could see here, the card holder is here. This is the acquirer bank. This is the firm, and that's the issuer switch. There's the issuer switch. And sometimes when one day I was trying to make a transaction recently, about 1,50,000 rupees in one go. And the card was showing processing, but it is not processing. And it was an American Express Platinum card. So American Express, by the way, and MasterCard, they have got a lot of secure systems. They have upgraded their systems very much. So what they did, I get a call from American Express that, are you going to make a transaction of 1,50,000 rupees at some point of sale? I felt very good because that was a quick pre-authorization kind of a call. And I said, yes, I am at a merchant and this thing. By the way, I had faced a fraud before that. And almost about 6 lakh rupees from my card, I was defrauded by a card, right? 6 lakh rupees. And I was not in the country that time. And my card was with me. And somebody used my card. Just imagine, can you guess how he would have used it? Not at all. Cloning was not prevalent those days. I'm talking about 10 years ago. Cloning was not there. Sir, cloning was not there 10 years, I think, those days. I landed in Kathmandu from some country, and then I got a call because Kathmandu-India connection was working. And I got a call, sir, did you buy a diamond from a shop? And I got 4 calls from somebody from the bank, and saying that, did you buy gold and diamond? It's all gold and diamond, 6 lakh rupees. The person knew that I have a card. It was an ICICI bank card. So what happened then, this is a use case I'm giving it to you, payment use case. The card is with me. I get a call that, are you using the card? I said, no, I have the card with me. Nobody is doing a transaction through online because they don't have access to my online credentials. So I said, no, please raise a complaint. I won't give you a penny because the card is with me. I don't know. This is a fraud case. So they said, sir, don't worry. We know this is a fraud then in that case. We will institute an inquiry and relax. So in between, maybe I would be having 1 lakh rupees outstanding by that time in my card. That was supposed to be paid to the bank. I said, what will happen to that 1 lakh? Do I need to pay right now? He said, no, your card is stopped for the time being. And we will institute an inquiry. So fast forward, an inquiry happened. People came to my house to verify. I have an account in ICICI Bank. The address is the same where I stay. The card also has got the same address wherever I put up here, right? So everything, all the details were there. But somebody on my behalf had reported to the card authorities that, look, I am so-and-so person. In my name, I lost my card. So please give me a duplicate card, right? And that duplicate card address was found to be in Gamma something in Greater Noida or Noida, right? So then these guys came to me. I said, okay. And he said that I have also changed my address, by the way. The most interesting part of this fraud was he said that he has also changed my address, so I'm changing my address. So that's why it was Gamma in Greater Noida. So that card was delivered in Greater Noida. He would have used that card, that imposter, posing as if I am the person, and he did all the shoppings from Noida worth 6 lakh rupees, from a gold shop and a diamond shop.
Tell me one thing,
right.
Your original card will not be deactivated.
That when...
Once the second card is issued, the first card becomes inoperative.
So I will tell you what happened. He has already done the shopping because the card needs to be activated for the time being, right? I was not aware about it. I only came to know that, when I got a call, by the time fraud has happened already. So when I said, I'm not the person, there must be a fraud, then they deactivated the card. By the time this much money has already gone. So they wanted to authenticate and verify because my phone was not reachable. So that person must be using that card by the time the call landed to me. And I said, look, this is absolutely, I have never bought this. My card is with me. So they got an alarm that, this is a fraud case. So finally, fast forward kya hua, I didn't have to pay a rupee also. 6 months waiting period. 1 lakh जो मुझे देना था उसका interest भी बच गया मेरा. मतलब it was not that case, but all the money was waived off, and they could understand there is a gang of criminals which is there, and उस address पे verify करने गए, there was nobody in that address. That address was also a fake address. Because, you see, they came to me, I have got a premium account in the not NRI account, a premium account in ICICI Bank. So if I would have changed the address, I would have changed the address there also. So my house is same, my address is same, everything is same. The bank didn't verify whether the person is actually the same person or somebody else. So there are gaps in the system. This is a payment, and these things are happening every day, by the way. So they said, we will take care of the system, we will kind of make the system more robust, but every other day you will have phishing attacks, payment attacks, and other things. So this purchase transaction flow is to be understood by general public how the flow happens. There is an authorization which happens during the flow. During the flow, the workflow is like this, that the authorization happens from point of sale to the bank and to the fintech operator. And the challenge is today that multiple third-party people are there. And third-party people, fintech operators, and third-party operators are within the system. So their vulnerabilities, their weak points are the target for a cyber criminal. So if you really, your credential is kind of disclosed to them, or they could crack that credential, then it is going to be a problem. So this, the card holder, how it works, you can see that. Do I need to explain this? I don't think so, because it is all self-explanatory, how the payment network works, how the merchant and the acquirer and the issuer and the entire value chain is working. So this is a very well-designed structure, but still there are vulnerabilities and the bugs inside, which can be kind of, so can we move forward? This is another e-commerce transaction flow. The acquirer payment gateway on this side, the merchant on this side, the card holder on that side, the pay secure framework in the middle, the authentication on the right side, issuer authentication server, and you have the switches there, NPCI switches there, and the issuer switches there. And that works seamlessly in the system, and you see that payment is immediately. So there's a very systematic way to really go ahead and get it done. Then there is this a repeat slide or no? So this is the same thing, just I wanted to put this in front of you. Then there is UPI, Unified Payment Interface, where you could see that, you could see this in how the one app for all transaction needs are being developed by India, and single-click two-factor authentication, and push and pull payments. So I think multi-factor authentication is one way that, but multi-factor authentication is also moving. I'm sure you know multi-factor authentication, that when you get an email pay OTP and another OTP on your mobile phone, if you are not able to, and then CAPTCHA and all that, right? Many times CAPTCHA doesn't match because you can't see properly what is written there. So these are ways to actually authenticate or verify what we call zero trust in a way, but zero trust is moved again beyond that complexity. So I think the banks are taking advantage, and General Pant has already mentioned about Bajaj Capital, and I'm aware about it. Speaking in the end is always challenging because you have less time, I know that. So but again, I think I'll just keep pushing this push and pull kind of slides. And then again, UPI, how this entire system of payment system works, because the malware, phishing, all the standards, how criminals can attack. And what can be done, we will discuss during the panel discussion. But I think since the time is less, I will just keep moving. So am I safe? I started with that. Are we safe? Tell me. No. Why?
Because the more we learn, the very next day it's quite old. And the people who are actually the hackers or cyber criminals, they are exploring new opportunities and new vulnerabilities.
I think that's one. Anybody else? Why am I safe? Are we safe? Yes, sir.
When person like you is not safe, what can happen with me? Thank you very much.
I think charity begins at home, right? Right, yeah. So charity begins at home. So are we safe? Am I safe? That's why I'm writing, am I safe? I means everybody here, right? Are we safe? Am I safe? So safety and security is more because if you are aware, awareness is very important. Alertness is very important. Then only you will respond. In the airport, sometimes you go somewhere, it is written by cyber incidents, please report immediately. If you have any cyber incidents, please, this is a Ministry of Home initiative, sir. I think this is a wonderful initiative at the airport, that if there is a cyber incident, most of the people don't report, by the way. And these are all middle class and lower people, because 5,000, 10,000 सबसे निकालते हैं. The target is only 5,000 and 10,000 rupees. I am sure the CBIs of the world and all. By the way, CBI का नाम बहुत जगह use होता है digital arrest में. So digital arrest, every time it is a CBI official talking. I also got a call from CBI, right? But I took him to ransom, by the way, right? Because I told him, अच्छा ठीक है, आप आइए मिलिए मेरे से, हाँ? I work with CBI, आइए मिलिए. आप CBI से मुझे ही बात करें, मेरे बारे में नहीं जानते आप. Then he hung up. He was giving me gali of the highest order after that, you know. So this is all you remember. So whether it is police, law enforcement, or anybody, it is not easy to handle. More awareness, and the other side, the modernization of the crime. The crime is also modernizing day by day. So continuous upskilling, building capability and awareness, and how you can be alert, vigilant, cyber vigilance. And October mein Cyber Vigilance Week and all there's Awareness Week. I think India is doing a great work. Still a lot of grounds to cover, more alertness and response time. Response time, 1930 is there, but people report after 2 days. What will happen? They are also sick. They say, cyber wale to bhaga dete hain hame. बोलता है वो आदमी नहीं आया, छुट्टी पे है, we are not staffed, we don't know what to do, no FIRs. So होगा क्या? So I think you need to have a golden time to report and golden hour time, and that if you don't report, nothing happens, because after that the money goes and you will be very difficult to find out. So as we said, digital security is a concern as well as an opportunity. Financial payment ecosystems, the public infrastructure, what General Pant mentioned about healthcare utilities, devices, applications, and infrastructure, and common citizen. By the way, senior citizens are the greatest targets nowadays. Senior citizens are the most important targets, crores and crores of rupees. Within the last 2-3 years, 10,000 crores have been extorted through these all unauthorized payment transactions. And also the marginalized communities, because they don't report because उनको डर लगता है, उनको लगता है कि भगवान है हमारे लिए. God is there. अगर 5,000 चला गया, हमने कोई खराब काम किया होगा, इसलिए भगवान ने 5,000 ले लिया, चलो एक सबक मिल गया हमें. So God is going to take care of me. I'm not going to report there, right? Because ये मेरी destiny है. So people are looking at destiny. सिंह साहब आप कह रहे थे यूपी में आप चाहे किसी भी सेक्टर में चले जाएं, there are people who are workers of that level. They don't have the guts to go to police to report. वो कहते हैं कौन इतने complexity में पड़ेगा, हमारे 2 दिन के दिहाड़ी चली जाएगी. तो 5,000 compromise हो जाता है. So a lot of people are compromised, a lot of things are compromised. We also get compromised many times. Phishing attacks, I also get phishing attacks every day. Sir, आपने बोला ना कि you are not safe, no one is safe. But I also get phishing attacks every day. And our servers are also under attack. So our command centers, we can see where is it coming from, but you can't detect. Because your alertness, your awareness about those criminals, what is the modus operandi. So what we have seen and done, what we call the hacker's mindset. Now we have hired people, and the organizations have hired hackers. They give money to them कि हमारा system आप hack करके दिखाओ. So the red teaming is happening, the penetration testing is happening, VAPT and all that. So all that is happening, people are taking care of all these measures. But again, still the challenges remain because the world is very porous, the borders are very porous. The digital borders are so porous, it is not secure. What to talk about digital borders, even physical borders. So physical borders भी जब porous हैं, तो digital borders तो और भी porous हैं हमारे लिए. You can do fencing, cyber fencing. But हमारे physical borders पे भी fencing नहीं है अभी पूरी तरीके से. तो cyber fencing is important, but vulnerabilities exist. So I will not like to spend more time. So this is the new reality of governance. You don't know how secure others are. You can't protect everything equally. You can't fix everything. You don't know how secure partners are. You can't make assets fully secure. You don't know unknown. And the truth is that you won't be able to stop every threat, and you need to get over it. And that's the hard reality that is required to be understood before we talk about governance of security. And there's a common overconfidence that we are also facing, that we are not that big to be targeted. We are small flies. We don't have any sensitive data to become a target. Hamare mobile pe koi data hi nahi hai. We are ISO and PCI certified. Our network is the best. We have never been attacked. It will never happen with me. But this is what exactly is the myth. This is the cyber graph which I have shown, the breach game, how it is happening in the dark web and where people are sitting. You can see that, how many days, what all hackers do and how is it happening. Then conventional frauds and controls, card payment systems, how it is working there and how control measures are being taken. So fraud monitoring, anti-skimming solutions are required, CPP analysis, sharing of fraud trends, then second factor authentication, then more control, required, more SIM management systems, because SIM is also becoming a dangerous thing now. eSIMs coming in now. So eSIMs can be also targeted. Top threat vectors, you can read out, and I have been given only 5 minutes. I think 3 minutes is over. So I'm going to wrap it up fast. This much I could make sitting over here, so you can applaud me that, I did a and in 10, 15 minutes, I could manage to put some slides like this. So what is the traditional way to commit a fraud? You can see how skimming, how cameras can be removed and attached to laptop to download card and PIN data. Phishing, wishing, these are the words nowadays. So this is a real system where the world, we can see the SMS spoofing is also happening. Every day we get SMSs that you won a lottery or something, right? You transfer this amount. Emotional blackmailing, social engineering, all that. And people are becoming victims to that. So we have to be aware about the fake collections also. You get a message that you have got this much of money. If you can transfer this much, you will get this much as a cashback or something. So be careful that every point of intersection or interaction, it will happen. Remote apps. How many of you download apps every day or every other second day, third day, or once in a month or 6 months? Version upgrade or something. Apps are also becoming dangerous now. You do not know your apps are being downloaded in the right way, but they may not be the right thing to do because a lot of data can be siphoned off from there. So I think way forward is to identify risk, analyze risk, early warning indicators, coverage, execution, monitoring, and control. I think awareness is the key. Alertness is also the key. And right frameworks to be built up where, advanced basic level to advanced level of technologies, like you can always map your journey from where you are. And startups also need to be very sure, because most of these startups are going to be attacked very, very frequently, and medium and small enterprises. So their awareness is also very critical, because most of the times we can afford to have CISOs in our organizations, Chief Security Officers and DPOs, but startups do not have that kind of a thing. And these people will be at a greater risk because we have got many startups now in the country. So customer trust, regulatory compliance, security as foundation, and safeguard from breach. So that's the 4 things which we require to really move forward. Increasing trust, regulatory compliance, basis of corporate security or institutional security, and how can we be better prepared to be following those international standards, and also standards which can be our own standards, which we must define. Life is a balance between risk and benefits. The more risk you take, the more benefits you get. But if you don't take any risk, there will be no benefits. Maybe that's a good saying. And we have really seen that there is a master direction which has come from RBI recently. And these directions on cyber resilience and digital payment security controls for non-bank payment system operators. And this is a very important direction which has come, which is aiming to strengthen the security and resilience of digital payment ecosystems in the country, where there will be a lot of innovation, co-creation, sharing of threat and intelligence and all that, and how we can make the systems more secure. So RBI is a great regulator, and that's how, so thank you very much. And I thought this much of time was there, so with me. Maybe on details, maybe we'll talk later. Thank you.
A very interesting presentation indeed, and thank you very much for sharing your expertise and for helping us better understand the complexities and the solutions in this critical domain. Thank you very much. We now move to a highly anticipated segment of today's seminar, a thought-provoking panel discussion on the central theme of the day. This session will delve into critical perspectives on cybersecurity, infrastructure protection, and the evolving digital threats to Indian trade and industry. The discussion will be moderated by Shri D.C. Jain ji, former Special Director CBI and COO of the Indian Police Foundation, Joining him on the panel are our three eminent experts who we've just heard. Lieutenant General Dr. Rajesh Panji, Shri Naveen Kumar Singh ji and Dr. Vijay Rai. हम अपने स्पीकर से और साथ साथ हमारे मॉडरेटर से भी निवेदन करेंगे कि इस पैनल डिस्कशन की हम शुरुआत करें. We'll just take a few moments to set up the stage for the panel discussion because it requires a little more setting than the individual speakers addressing us. So taking a few more seconds to just set up the stage, and then we'll begin the proceedings of this highly anticipated segment, the panel discussion on the central theme of today. So ladies and gentlemen, please join hands in welcoming Shri DC Jain ji on the dais and also our three speakers who have just addressed us. May I please invite our speakers, Shri Naveen Kumar Singh ji, Lieutenant General Dr. Rajesh Panji and Dr. Vijay Rai ji to kindly please rejoin on the stage so that we can begin the proceedings for the panel discussion. Looking forward to insightful discussions, and also if there are any questions for our speakers, they might be directed as per the proceedings of the session. So I please, with this, hand over the session to Shri DC Jain ji for beginning the deliberations from here. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much. Audience, how was the session? How were the sessions? Was it very scary? Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. In fact, I think I don't have enough words to say thanks to the three speakers. They gave wonderful presentations, very educative, very informative. And for most of us, I think it was a kind of eye-opener. We didn't know a lot of things. How vulnerable we all are, as Dr. Rai in the end said, like, am I safe? So none appears to be safe. So thank you so much, Naveen. Thank you so much, General Pant. And thank you, Dr. Rai, for making such wonderful presentation. And I think we are all hugely benefited. Because of the paucity of time, actually, I think we will just have a quick round of few questions only. And then if there's anything from the audience they need to know or they want to ask, then perhaps, maybe if time permits, one or two questions we can take from the audience also. So I will start with Naveen, who spoke on the threat of info stealers. Basically, you told us a lot of things about the info stealers, how they operate, malware attacks and all that. And since we have organized this particular seminar, primarily for the trade and industry, and there are, as you also mentioned, there are many companies which are not very big, which are small MSMEs. So, and you have been in this field for many years. So I would like to know from you to ask what extent the Indian companies, especially the MSMEs, they are aware and what is their level of preparedness to defend themselves against the threat from the info stealers.
Thank you, sir. So if you're talking about the MSMEs, I would say that the level of preparation really needs to go up. What we see is that even if you talk about the critical sectors, for example, we see the banking, financial services and insurance. They are one of the better prepared sectors. But in the medium, small and micro enterprises sector, since their focus is not on this aspect, so they really need to work a lot. In fact, I covered in my slide as to what are the gaps. But I think the most important thing which they need to focus on is to realize that they need to take care of the cybersecurity, and I think the best way to move forward is to think about it when they're actually procuring new systems and on where they are acquiring new capabilities. That is the time when you can think about how to also incorporate security, because there the incremental cost of security is less. And the other thing which they need to have is to have people who are well aware of the cybersecurity related threats and how to handle them. So at least having those kind of a vertical is something which can actually help them move forward, sir.
Thank you. Then I'll now like to move on to Lieutenant General Pant. Basically, he spoke on the importance of public-private partnership, and he himself is the chairperson of one such organization, like he mentioned, Cybersecurity Association of India. So we are holding this seminar in the auditorium of PSD Chambers of Commerce and Industry. We also have the representative of CII here. So sir, I want to know from you, what role these intermediaries like the CII, the PSD, CCI, they have, particularly for promoting these best practices, which I think the industry or everyone has been facing, and how they can play their role as facilitators or intermediaries to spread cyber awareness, and to kind of, particularly you also mentioned about sharing of threat intelligence, and there are many other dimensions you spoke about. So I would particularly like to know from you the role that these intermediaries can play in the theme of today.
Thank you, Dharamji, for that question. Before I answer your specific question, I just want to say that this seminar should not end on a negative note, that we have scared you, that, are you safe and things like that. It has to end on a positive note. It's like driving a car. Ab aap bole car mat chalao, accident ho jayega. There are safety features, there are brakes. It depends on the rules that you follow. So this is a great advantage that we've got. We don't have to go to the bank today, sab kuch pocket mein ho raha hai. So just a few safety measures have to be taken, and the advantages of technology have to be appreciated. That is the note I want to end on. So coming to your specific question now, ki what can industry associations do? What they do for all the other aspects of governance. First is policy advocacy. And just for the information of everyone, our present cybersecurity policy is of 2013 vintage. That is the National Cybersecurity Policy of India, 2013. In 2019, a task force was created by the government to create a new cybersecurity strategy. Because 10-12 saal mein, everything has changed. There was no ransomware, no crypto. So I was the chairperson of that task force. We had members from about 14 ministries. We took public consultations. There is a draft now, which may come out very soon, let's say, depending upon the clearance from the cabinet and all. So this is one of the aspects. What should be our national cybersecurity strategy? Because as Dr. Vijay also mentioned, the first concept is whole of a nation approach. That is the first concept. We are now protecting national cyberspace. Second concept is something called CBDR. CBDR is common but differentiated responsibilities. That means the citizen has a responsibility, the businesses have a responsibility, academia has a responsibility, and a government has a responsibility. All have different responsibilities for protecting cyberspace. So policy advocacy is a very major aspect. You mentioned threat intelligence. I also spoke that most of the critical sectors today are in the hands of private. You see telecom, it's all private, except for BSNL. You say power is private, health sector mostly private. So critical sectors are in the hands of private players. The problem is, how do we make certain aspects mandatory to be implemented by private players? So that is where the regulators will come and things like that. So again, the association plays a very important role on the sectoral aspect. So like that, there are many issues: threat intel, policy advocacy, strategizing, and bringing the problems of the MSMEs that he mentioned 95% of the industry. So I remember I had gone for a CII event where we launched a CD drive, which at that time CD was there. You could, the MSMEs could put it and it ran a test and told them ki vulnerabilities kya aapke system. It was given free, right? So like that, a lot of these initiatives can be taken for protecting the, I think I'll take a pause here.
Thank you, sir. So taking it forward, I'd like to go to Dr. Roy. You mentioned that you were associated with the Digital India and the Startup India also. And in your presentation, in one of the slides, when you were showing this payment system, you highlighted the role the fintech startups play these days. So basically, because this is a time of startups and a lot of startups we see have been growing each day in our country. So in your experience, can you tell us how mature are they? Basically, when it comes to having these baseline cybersecurity systems, and because as they are one important cog in the entire system, if they are vulnerable, they can make the whole system vulnerable. So what exactly, whether the government or the regulators have been doing in ensuring that these startups, they follow the basic baseline security framework? So I'd like to know more from you on this.
Yeah, thank you. I think fintechs have also started this revolution in the country, which has actually accelerated this payment space, basically, because otherwise it was more core banking, and that's where we leapfrogged into the digital era. And that's why we are talking about cyber and safety, cyber safety. The fintech startups, the regulatory framework is being, so regulatory is the Reserve Bank of India. So, and NPCI is also there. So they're doing a great work, and I think they have established clear guidelines for fintech companies and standards for cybersecurity practices, such as RBI guidelines on cybersecurity, fintech companies guidelines, which has come up already. And the RBI has also made manuals and kind of user manuals for fintech companies, how they should perform and their performance assessment, and their audits also started happening now, which was not there earlier. So the payment space, since it is much more vulnerable, I think these guidelines are very important. And collaboration and information sharing also started happening, because earlier fintech companies were not sharing information, their vulnerabilities were not known. Now vulnerability and testing and checking and audits are kind of, they are exposed to threats, and that's why third-party operators who are there, they are also being questioned by the government and the regulators as to they have to have disclosures about what their cyber protocols and cyber standards and compliances, and that actually it is there. And also, there are incidents, the incidents also are happening which are captured but not reported many times. So many of this, as we said, that we are not safe, but even if we are not safe, incident report sharing is also very important. So incident response planning and sharing of what kind of incidents happened, what data breaches happened, what kind of malware, what kind of ransomware, what kind of bugs were there, and how they have made the system more robust. And this is the way to go forward to say that, third-party risk assessment is a very, very important criteria, because third-party risk assessment, if it is not happening in a proper way, this will lead to more vulnerabilities. And there are a lot of vendors who are not, we are not sure what they're doing exactly. So these intermediaries and vendors, which are the critical partners in the process, and also their maturity assessment, because some of them have become all of a sudden so big. You see what happened with Paytm and Bharat Pay and all that, right? There were governance lapses. So people are making money at the cost of whatever, but I think the lapses happen at the governance level also. So I think funding and investment of these companies, who is funding them, sir? Because we don't know where the money is coming from. So this third-party risk assessments for a country like India, Bharat, is very important, because most of the people are funded by unknown agencies, and there are multiple partners playing a role, and the data is going somewhere else. We never know that. And much of these are also data centers are not in India. So some of the data centers are outside. So even companies like SAP has been, or SAP kind of companies also have been under attack. So they have also been, there has been data breaches and cyber attacks on SAP. The other is partnership with cybersecurity experts is very important in this process, because if we do not have expertise around the system and sharing of information through best practices, the fintech's innovation will not happen. And private sector is doing a lot of innovation, by the way. And CII and others, we have innovation hubs where we know NASSCOM is there, great innovation hub, deep tech innovation hub is happening. So I would say regular audits, 3 points, and 2 is providing guidance to fintechs as to how they should operate and also doing the performance assessments. And last point, which should be a very important point, is enforcing huge penalties. Because if the penalties are not huge, then it will become a problem. So in the DPDP Act, that's why we have seen 250 crores. That was when he was talking, I knew that, but it is going to increase, by the way. It can be 4%, 5% of the entire revenue of the company, by the way. So look at if billion-dollar companies are operating 4, 5% means a lot of things. Depending upon that is only an indicator that, the penalties and fines will be increasing day by day because the complexities are also increasing. So fintechs are great facilitators and great enablers, but I think we need to have guardrails to see that, our third-party people and fintech companies are also enabled, and we know where exactly the loopholes are, vulnerabilities are, so that we can together make a collective progress in making our country and our payment systems more safe and secure.
Thank you. I think we can have one more quick next round of questions. Again, coming back to Naveen, you gave a detailed exposition as far as the threat from info stealers are concerned. But I think people sitting here would also be, or rather who are with us online, they would also be interested in knowing what are the other important threats other than the info stealers that the people from the trade and industry need to be aware about.
So I think I covered it in one of my slides where I also told that the info stealers is at the base of these things. But I think the other most important attacks which now everyone, including the citizens and the industries, need to be aware of is the social engineering attacks, which we call as the phishing attacks or the spear phishing attacks. Spear phishing attack is like more targeted kind of a phishing where they know a lot of details about you and they can craft and send you a mail or a message which you actually take it to be more genuine, and you click it and you start getting infected. In fact, most of these studies across the world still say that phishing remains the most important attack vector. Attack vector means the mode through which the malwares are basically injected into your system. So if we can raise the phishing awareness of the employees and the entities, then that is one method which can actually help you in improving your security like anything, because apart from phishing, the other attack modes to enter your systems have a relatively high entry barrier, in the sense that the attackers then have to be very skilled and they have to have really high quality knowledge of vulnerabilities and exploits to exploit those vulnerabilities. So social engineering attacks and phishing remain something which we need to be careful about. The other thing which we need to worry about, I think, is the ransomware attacks, because unlike info stealers where they are stealing things and maybe not you, your partners get affected, or maybe they are not able to get the real data which you want. But in the ransomware case, your entire systems gets disrupted. You can't even do your service. Your business gets stopped, and it immediately comes into the public domain. There's no way you can hire if you're basically servicing clients and all. And the ransomware attacks over the last 3-4 years is the one which has really increased a lot. And it has basically infected entities across sectors, even in the Western worlds, the health sector and all. They have been rapidly affected, and in the ransomware, they will basically steal your data and then keep it and then encrypt your thing and then ask for ransom. If you don't pay it, then they will leak your data. They will give you adverse publicity. So those double and triple extortion techniques are also which are there. And for that, I think apart from putting a lot of controls and everything, I think what is important is that we should be able to build our systems afresh. So that kind of a resilience needs to be built up, and for that proper backup and drills where you can restore your system from backups. That we found is to be the most effective way to recover from ransomware. So that is something I think which needs to be worried about and taken care of. So those two I think should be the most prominent, and they should be proving to be the most effective ones, sir.
Thank you, Naveen. I think we can take questions from the audience. Yes, sir. Can someone please give the mic?
Sir, I am known as Professor N.K. Goyal. I am president with Dr. Pant, but known as chairman of Telecom Technology. I wear a 6G tag also. My problem is most of the technology are coming from US, Google, Internet, Yahoo, everything whatever you say. और हम टेक्नोलॉजी में बहुत ज़्यादा वर्ल्ड में एडवांस होते रहते हैं. सेफेस्ट वे यूएस ने आज भी क्या कर रखा है कि जो एयरपोर्ट्स हैं वहाँ पर विंडो 95 यूज़ करते हैं, फ्लॉपी डिस्क डाटा ट्रांसफ़र करते हैं. उनकी स्टेटमेंट है ऑफिशियली कि हमारे पास फंड्स नहीं है अपग्रेड करने के 2030 तक. उन्होंने आने वाले 5 साल तक सेफ रखा हुआ है. दैट इज़ ए वन प्रॉब्लम. हर आदमी कहता है अलर्ट रहो, अवेयर रहो. पंत साहब हमसे एग्जाम्पल देते हैं कार का. मैंने कभी आज तक कहा नहीं, आज कह रहा हूँ. सर, कार में सेफ्टी प्रोविज़न कार वाला दे रहा है, एयर बैग दे रहा है, ब्रेक दे रहा है. यहाँ टेक्नोलॉजी कोई और दे रहा है, सेफ्टी प्रोविज़न साइबर सिक्योरिटी एक्सपर्ट्स दे रहे हैं. थैंक यू.
क्वेश्चन क्या है?
सर, क्वेश्चन नहीं है, इन्फॉर्मेशन है, सिर्फ ऑब्जर्वेशन है.
नहीं, ऑब्जर्वेशन.
नहीं, ये सवाल ही है. आपने सवाल ठीक किया. ये सवाल है, इसके अंदर सवाल छुपा हुआ है कि प्रोडक्ट कोई डिज़ाइन कर रहा है, टेक्नोलॉजी कोई दे रहा है और सर्विसेज कोई और दे रहा है, सिक्योरिटी कोई और कर रहा है. किसी का कोई साइलोज में काम कर रहे हैं. बट आपको पता होना चाहिए कि आज की डेट में अब तो कार ही नहीं रही. अब तो कोई भी आदमी, मोबाइल कंपनी भी कार बनाना शुरू कर रही है, Xiaomi जैसी कंपनी, जापान. अब तो सब कुछ बिल्कुल बहुत खिलौने जैसा है, बिल्कुल मोटर है और क्या उसके अंदर कुछ है नहीं. तो नाउ कार इज बिकमिंग टेक्नोलॉजी ओनली नाउ. सो इट्स बिकमिंग टेक्नोलॉजी ड्रिवन. अब बहुत सारी चीज़ें टेक्नोलॉजी ड्रिवन होने वाली हैं, बिकॉज इट्स जस्ट एक डब्बा ऊपर से, बाकी सारे तो टेक्नोलॉजी पे चल रहा है. सो सैटेलाइट ड्रिवन ऑटोनोमस कार्स हमने टेस्ट किया सर, गूगल का. एंड हमारा एक सिस्टम उसमें काम कर रहा था जिसमें हम कह रहे थे पेडेस्ट्रियंस. जब ऑटोनोमस कार चेक कर रहे थे हम, तो हमारी एक टेक्नोलॉजी, AI बेस्ड टेक्नोलॉजी को कहा कि हम किसी ह्यूमन एलिमेंट को अगर रोड क्रॉस कर रहा है तो गाड़ी रुकेगी या नहीं रुकेगी. उस समय तक वो टेस्टिंग हुआ नहीं था. तो हमने क्या करा, हमारी टेक्नोलॉजी ने ये करा कि सेफ्टी ऑफ पीपल ऑन द रोड इफ द कार इज मूविंग ऑल्सो इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. ये नहीं कि हमने US के डिज़ाइन से काम किया और इंडिया इज डिफरेंट वर्ल्ड. कभी गाय आ गई, कभी बकरी आ गया, कभी साइकिल आ गया, उल्टा ट्रैक्टर चल के आ रहा है इंडिया में. सो एवरीथिंग इज उल्टा फुल्टा बहुत सारी जगह पे. तो हमने वो एल्गोरिथम्स को ट्रेन किया कि फेलियर क्या हो सकता है, ये कैसे कैसे खुराफाती लोग आ सकते हैं, तो उसको कैसे सेंस करेंगे, उसको कैसे रीड करेंगे. तो कहने का मतलब है कि सर, ऑटोनोमस कार्स, ऑटोनोमस ट्रक्स आर ऑल्सो स्टार्टेड नाउ ऑपरेटिंग सर, बिना ह्यूमन बीइंग के इंटरवेंशन के. तो अब वो टेक्नोलॉजी का जमाना आने वाला है. इंडिया में थोड़ा टाइम है उसको आने में, बट आई एम श्योर दैट जो टेक्नोलॉजी प्रोवाइडर्स हैं वो उतना ही प्रोडक्ट के बारे में जानना शुरू कर रहे हैं, उतने प्रोडक्ट डिज़ाइन के बारे में. प्रोडक्ट डिज़ाइन, एक्सपीरियंस डिज़ाइन, इट इज़ ऑल अबाउट ह्यूमन एक्सपीरियंस. कि आप गाड़ी में बैठिए, एवरीथिंग इज गैजेटेड, एवरीथिंग इज टेक्नोलॉजी. सो कहने का मतलब है, इससे स्क्रीन टाइम, जो पंत साहब कह रहे थे, आप स्क्रीन पे देखिए, गाड़ी अपने आप चल रही है, आपको कोई बटन्स कहीं नहीं है, एवरीथिंग इज कंट्रोल बाय स्विच. सो द होल आइडिया इज दैट the morphing of technology and products are happening, and before you buy a product you see that on a platform, on a technology platform first. आप उसके रिव्यूज़ पढ़ते हैं, उसको चला के देखते हैं उसके लोग क्या कह रहे हैं. सो आई थिंक ये जो एग्रीगेटर का ज़माना है आज की डेट में, ये एग्रीगेटर ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी, प्लेटफॉर्म्स, प्रोवाइडर्स एंड ऑल आर वर्किंग टुगेदर. आपने देखा होगा पेमेंट सिस्टम्स में भी सारे लोग हार्डवेयर, सॉफ्टवेयर एंड कॉग्निटिव कंप्यूटर्स, हार्डवेयर प्रोवाइडर्स, सॉफ्टवेयर प्रोवाइडर्स एंड कॉग्निटिव कंप्यूटिंग, जो कि ब्रेन एंड मशीन इंटरफेस पे काम कर रहे हैं. तो आई थिंक एवरीबडी स्टार्टेड वर्किंग एंड R&D सेंटर्स ऑलरेडी खुल चुके हैं हमारे यहाँ. इवन AT&T मैनेजिंग डायरेक्टर, आई वाज स्पीकिंग टू हिम अदर डे कि व्हाट आर यू डूइंग इन साइबर. ही सेड वी हैव अ साइबर सेंटर ऑफ एक्सीलेंस इन बेंगलुरु. सो पीपल आर नाउ सेटिंग अप साइबर सेंटर ऑफ एक्सीलेंस इन इंडिया while they are operating in other parts of the world, because यहाँ labor भी cheap है, technology guys are also very smart, you know how it is, and so our skills are very much on premium. So it is a convergence of people, technology, collaboration, and also process, and the body of knowledge which is existing from anywhere in the world. What a wonderful symbiosis. And if we can make the system work seamlessly, threats will be there, challenges will be there, but the world is moving to that level. एंड हियर कम्स क्वांटम कंप्यूटिंग. फिर सर हम तो क्या बात करेंगे, उसके बाद तो फिर सोचना पड़ेगा सर. फिर everything will become extremely super smart and super.
My question to General Panji. Sir, legislation, regulation, enforcement, where India stands today, how do we compare with other countries, and where are the good models from where we can pick up?
So, fortunately, with the present government, you find things are moving from the legislation point of view. For example, in telecom, we were having a Telecom Act of 1885 or something. Abhi 2023 mein, new Telecom Act has been, approved by the Parliament. Act ban gaya ho. Similarly, the MIT Ministry is working on a Digital India Act, which is going to supersede the IT Act of 2000 as amended in 2008. So, Digital India Act ki baat ho rahi hai. Within NSCS, we have also made a draft of a Cybersecurity Act, specifically, to address the new age crimes, which I mentioned, crypto, ransom and all that. DPDP, from 2017, if you recall, Justice Puttaswamy case, where Article 21 of the Constitution, we said privacy is a fundamental right, right? We took then Justice Krishnaswamy report and all that. वो पहला draft में गया, so they found कि it is personal data. Someone said इसमें non-personal data भी add कर दो. Another draft was made, and then there were a lot of cuttings and all that. So finally, Minister Vaishnav has done an excellent job and come out with the DPDP, which was approved, as I said, on 12th of August last year. उसके rules भी public domain में discussions हुए हैं सब लोगों के साथ. And I spoke to the secretary the other day. He said the rules will come out very soon. There was one observation, something about child ka kya definition or something like that, which also has been resolved. So these are the sectors that are of concern to what we are discussing. Digital India, cybersecurity, telecom, right? So things have moved, things are moving, but we are behind. We are definitely behind, there is no doubt. The good models are, GDPR has been there for 2018 onwards, right? 2018. And our law is by and large on similar lines. उसमें काफ़ी changes किए हैं हमने, but the concept started from there. Then Cybersecurity Act. You'd see a country like Singapore also, they've got a very good Cybersecurity Act, which is China has come out with the Cybersecurity Act, right? So we are far behind in the Cybersecurity Act is concerned. So it should come out soon. I mean, in every forums we are raising the issue, but your point is very valid. Thank you.
Sir, regulation.
Yeah. So regulatory agency, I said, sector-wise, for every sector there is a regulator, right? So I mentioned power sector, there is a Central Electricity Authority. For cybersecurity, they have done an excellent job. They have first created a guideline, a sectoral sort of a guideline. These are the mandatory framework that you have to follow. They have ensured that in all their entities, and they have about 600 utilities, if I'm not wrong, under them, their CISO is appointed, right? What you mentioned, VAPTs, red teaming, आजकल एक CART का concept है, continuous automated red teaming, everything is happening. So you see RBI, if you see the RBI guidelines and the SEBI guidelines, they are very strict, right? Similarly, telecom had always been given, very good security guidelines, and you see now how the private sector is collaborating. Airtel से आपको message आता है कि spam alert, right? This is how things should be actually. It's something like power. Early 1900s में there used to be a appointment called a chief power officer. वो बड़ा टेक्निकल बंदा होता था, उसको पता था वॉट्स और वोल्ट में क्या फ़र्क है, what is KVA, KW and all, because electricity was new. But now you just plug in. Who's bothered about, voltage variations and frequency and all? So that is what we want cyber space to be. We want it that I as a user should be able to connect to the internet, which is now considered as oxygen, and feel free from cyber scares like he's saying. Right? That is the ultimate aim of all of us, to reach that stage. Ab wo, there are evil men also and good men, and I presume there are more good men in the world today. But वो evil mind तो वो सोचेगा उल्टा ही ना, वो तो कर ही रहा है. But things are moving. और एनफोर्समेंट के लिए तो ये हमारे सारे बैठे हुए हैं आईपीएस सामने। हाँ, आप लोग ही कर रहे हैं एनफोर्स।
Naveen ji, I have a question for you.
Yeah, sir. Just सर फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल मेरे को आज यहाँ आके बहुत सारी चीज़ों का जानकारी मिली जो कि हमारी सरकार कर रही है और आप सब लोग उसे रेगुलेटरी में कर रहे हैं, लेकिन मैं इसी एक लैक का इंसिडेंट आप लोगों से शेयर करना चाह रहा हूँ कि जो आजकल आरटीजीएस में स्कैम चल रहा है। आरटीजीएस ए पार्टी के नाम से जा रहा है। आप जो ओटीपी जनरेटर है, ओटीपी देने वाला, उसके पास भी ए पार्टी लिखा हुआ आ रहा है, अप्रूवर भी उसे ए पार्टी अप्रूव कर रहा है, लेकिन वो पैसा ट्रांसफ़र हो रहा है डी पार्टी के नाम में। और जब आप बैंक के पास जाते हैं कि भाई आपने ये पैसा दूसरे अकाउंट में कैसे ट्रांसफ़र कर दिया, जबकि ये मैच नहीं हो रहा नाम के साथ में अकाउंट नंबर, सो दिस इज़ वी आर जस्ट IFSC कोड से हम लोग ट्रैक करते हैं। अब वो उस पार्टी का अकाउंट है या नहीं उससे हमें मतलब नहीं। तो आजकल ये सब हम लोगों के लिए एक बहुत बड़ा थ्रेट है कि हम लोग अपने अकाउंट्स और बैंक ट्रांजैक्शंस के लिए किसी न किसी पे डिपेंडेंट हैं, और इट इज़ नॉट पॉसिबल टू हैव ऑल डीलिंग्स पर्सनली ऑफ बैंक ट्रांसफर्स। So this is a big challenge because the person who is creating the RTGS, he just do one thing, he put the IFSC code and account number of the second person and party shows names is A. So how we can prevent from this fraud? This is my question.
Multi-factor authentication systems.
No, it's a multi-factor authentication is there. One is feeder, one is approver, and after that you will get the OTP.
I know this has happened to one of my drivers, known drivers, the other day, right? And he told me that, sir, हमें किसी ने emotional blackmail किया कि मेरी mother को ले जाइए, आप hospital छोड़ दीजिए, you know all that.
नहीं sir, you could not get.
RTGS के through हुआ है.
RTGS के through हुआ है और इसके अंदर कोई भी लैक नहीं है. जो फीडर है, फीडर ने सबसे ज्यादा
जो प्रॉपर चैनल है उसके थ्रू
प्रॉपर चैनल के थ्रू हुआ है। लेकिन यहाँ पॉइंट क्या है कि जो फीडर है आपका, जो आरटीजीएस फीड कर रहा है, उसने नाम डाला ए पार्टी का और अकाउंट नंबर डाल दिया अपना। तो यहाँ से जो अप्रूवर है उसके पास स्क्रीन पे जा रहा है ए पार्टी, और जो ओटीपी जिसने जहाँ पे आ रहा है मैसेज में भी ए पार्टी का नाम आ रहा है और पैसा जा रहा है थर्ड पार्टी को।
सर एक्चुअली क्या था, पहले क्या प्रॉब्लम थी, आपके अकाउंट के साथ कोई भी नाम लिखो। विपिन जी, क्या था पहले, क्या था कि आप अपने अकाउंट नंबर के IFSC के साथ कोई भी नाम लिखोगे, पेमेंट चली जाएगी। किस नाम को वो कंसिडर नहीं करते थे, वो सिर्फ IFSC कोड और अकाउंट नंबर कंसिडर करते थे। अब नाउ दिस हैज़ बीन चेंज। अब क्या है, नाम ऑथेंटिकेशन होती है, अभी शुरू हुआ ये 10-15 दिन पहले। अब नाउ दिस हैज़ बीन चेंज, ऑलरेडी डन।
IFSC कोड के साथ में आपका नाम, अकाउंट सारी मैचिंग होगी, तब जब तक पेमेंट जाएगा ही नहीं।
ये RBI ने अभी थोड़े दिनों पहले किया है ना। We brought it to the notice of RBI. I was part of a committee. So, sir, I think we can request the President IPF to have the last word,
sir,
and then we will.
I have a question here.
Sorry,
I have a question here. Naveen ji, for you.
Ajay, okay, God sir, please.
Naveen ji, I just wanted to ask you 3 questions right here. The first question is, when we see most of the agencies or most of the organization in the private sector or maybe the public sector also for that matter, they go through a lot of crisis of finances, specifically procuring the cybersecurity product or the teams or the services. So do you see that as a challenge or a barrier which stops, the agencies procuring the best of the best sources? Second, do the CFOs and CEOs should also know that how important cybersecurity is for their organization, and they should spend at least 5% of the revenue of their organization in procurement of the best product and the services to secure the data what they are dealing with? And the third question is, if in case this is done, are there any sort of incident response teams available in India, those who can actually support them when it comes to the emergency point? Because certain does everything post-incident, but we need proactiveness where exactly, things can be managed. So are there any agencies which can support in this particular matter?
See, for example, if you look at the National Critical Information Infrastructure Protection Center, which I had, we are the national nodal body for protection of all the critical information infrastructure, and we believe in taking measures proactively so that these incidents actually don't arise. And we have come out with the National Cybersecurity Reference Framework, where we have set the broad guidelines and the frameworks which all the critical information infrastructure entities should follow, including the different critical sectors. And that also serves as a guidelines for all the regulators. Somebody was talking about those regulations and enforcement. So we have come out with guidelines which the regulators are also supposed to consult and take into account. So there we have said that if you are a declared CI entity, then the top management is responsible for cybersecurity. We have not said that the CISO is responsible for cybersecurity. So automatically the board, etc., they become liable, and all the cybersecurity incidents and the posture, etc., are monitored at the board level. So all those things are taken care of automatically. So that means if a cybersecurity incident takes place, then the CEO also can lose its job. It's not that the CISO who will lose its job. So all other things pending, giving due focus, building proper teams, all those things have been basically taken care of through this single important piece of things which we have done, especially in the CI entities. So that is how it is.
Because I've seen the scenarios where exactly, the procurement request was done almost 5 years ago. And because of lack of funds.
That doesn't happen for in the CI entities. Even the Information Security Steering Committee is headed by the CEO. So any of our recommendations, whether done, not done, it is monitored at the level of the CEOs only. We have now come out with KPIs for all the cybersecurity processes, etc. The KPIs are also supposed to be monitored by the board and also. So we have made a quantum shift in that direction, and that will take care of the things.
Okay, thank you.
Can we, whenever we go for shopping, the shopkeeper asks us the mobile number. What is the threat in that? Why should we give the mobile number? And most of all, if we try to resist, they insist on that. So data harvesting या जो भी आप कह लें, उससे हमें क्या खतरा है? I just want to know that. This is number one. Number two, recently I had gone abroad. I was traveling in another country. And I found कि मेरा क्रेडिट कार्ड बिना किसी पिन कोड के ही उन्होंने पेमेंट ले लिया. तो ऐसा होता है क्या? जैसे in India we need पिन कोड to be given POS में, लेकिन उस कंट्री में जब मैं शॉपिंग
सर बाहर में क्रेडिट कार्ड और डेबिट कार्ड्स में वो
कोई अंतर नहीं है.
नहीं सर, वहाँ पे मतलब you don't need that extra PIN etc. for making those payments.
अच्छा, तो I was shocked.
So that
ये तो कोई anybody can pick up my credit card and do the shopping.
Sir.
अगर मैं खो दिया अपना, if I lose my credit card, so the shopping can be done.
Sir.
Exactly the way you have been cheated. So anyway, but this was a, but I want to know the first question ka answer.
Sir, Sir, I think in the first one, if they lose your data and somebody wants to specifically target you, then there is an issue. Otherwise, these data, etc., are collected mainly for marketing purposes and things like that. But the threat is if, these threat actors, if they want to target, if somebody is supposed to target some company, somebody is supposed to target some individual, so they basically look for selectors. So this can be one of the selectors through which probably if somebody is trying to target you, how can he do it? So he will either have to know your email ID or your phone numbers. So in that sense, sir, it's a threat. So if, and especially if you are keeping your secret data, etc. into that. So what we normally suggest, since you have those kinds of things also, so maybe you keep different phones and something which you are giving for marketing, etc. may be different, and the email IDs, etc., where you have those more confidential data, etc., where finances, etc., involved, should not be given to those entities, sir.
I'll just add in this. Now with the DPDP Act, आपका मोबाइल नंबर जो है वो आपका पर्सनल डेटा है. विदाउट योर कंसेंट नोबडी कैन टेक योर पर्सनल डेटा. मेरे से होटल में पूछते हैं, मैं कभी नहीं देता हूँ. दुकान में कभी नहीं देता हूँ, वो कहता है कि नहीं सर फिर आपको ये टर्म्स एंड कंडीशन और फ़ायदा नहीं मिलेगा कहीं, दैट इज़ ओके.
Exactly, वही main point.
हाँ, so you are not,
No,
it
you're
is
not supposed to give.
it is your consent. Without your consent, you should not give. और only thing if you give is कि वो जो marketing calls आती हैं, that is number one, which नवीन said. और दूसरा ये है कि यहाँ नेहरू प्लेस में पहले 8-10 साल पहले की मैं बात बता रहा हूँ, 30 रुपये में सीडी मिलता था कि आपको डॉक्टर्स के फ़ोन नंबर चाहिए कि पेंशन वालों के फ़ोन नंबर चाहिए क्या, वो सब वो डेटा कहीं से घूम फिर के उधर पहुँच जाता है. वहाँ से शुरू होती है ये जो क्रेडेंशियल वाली कहानी है, द वे दी हैक्स टेक्स, इट गिव्स देम एंट्री पॉइंट.
So thank you so much, all the panelists. I think we had a wonderful day, I would say. And at the end of the day, I agree with what General Pant said, ki we don't have to be kind of, like pessimist. We have to be optimist. I think knowledge is power. So to create awareness, to know about the threats, that also helps us in a way. Prevention is better than cure, we all know. So from those points of view, we had a wonderful day, very informative day today. I once again thank the organizers, particularly Mr. Vinay and his team, JITO, for organizing this session. And with this, I think now we can move on to the next thing. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. And indeed, knowledge is power and prevention is better than cure. We'll take a moment to request all of you to kindly stay back because we'll be presenting more tokens of appreciation, gratitude for our speakers and for our IPF dignitaries. Ladies and gentlemen, we take a moment to acknowledge and thank our esteemed guests who have joined us here today and shared their expertise and various enlightening thoughts with all of us. तो अपने स्पीकर्स के साथ शुरुआत करते हैं. सबसे पहले मैं निवेदन करना चाहूँगी विनय जैन जी प्लीज़ स्टेज पर आएँ और लेफ्टिनेंट जनरल डॉक्टर राजेश पंत जी को एक मोमेंटो प्लीज़ प्रेजेंट करें. अपने स्पीकर्स हमारे सभी एस्टीम स्पीकर्स के साथ शुरुआत करते हैं एंड देन वी मूव ऑन टू प्रेजेंटिंग tokens of appreciation to our IPF dignitaries as well. So we begin with Lieutenant General Dr. Rajesh Pant. जोरदार तालियां सभी की ओर से. Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts with all of us. Thank you very much. I'll request Atul Mardia ji to kindly please present a token of appreciation to Shri Naveen Kumar ji. These are very special mementos, as we can see. राजीव जी से रिक्वेस्ट है कि डॉक्टर विजय राय जी को एक टोकन ऑफ एप्रिसिएशन आप प्लीज प्रेजेंट करें. These are our wonderful speakers, our esteemed speakers who shared their expertise, their knowledge, their ideas, their views with all of us today and gave us their valuable time. Ladies and gentlemen, after presenting tokens of appreciation to our speakers, we will now be presenting appreciation tokens to our IPF dignitaries. Joining us, as we know, we have here Shri N. Ramachandran ji. मैं निवेदन करना चाहूँगी विनय जी से. विनय जैन जी प्लीज आप प्रेजेंट करें एक टोकन. Ladies and gentlemen, Shri N. Ramachandran ji, founder and former president of the Indian Police Foundation, is a distinguished ex-IPS officer, Assam Meghalaya Cadre 1978 batch. He served in several sensitive districts of Assam and played a key role in counter-insurgency and intelligence operations. At the national level, he served 2 long tenures in the SPG, where he helped shape it into a world-class security force for the Prime Minister of India. Post-retirement, he served as chairman and CEO of the Cochin port, leading major digital transformations there. Ladies and gentlemen, we are honored to have Shri N. Ramachandran ji here with us. As the founding president of IPF, he continues to advocate professionalism in policing and works actively with police forces. Thank you very much for joining us here. We would request Shri Prasanna ji to please present a token of appreciation to Shri O.P. Singh ji. प्रसन्न जी से रिक्वेस्ट है कि आप प्लीज श्री ओपी सिंह जी को टोकन ऑफ ग्रैटिट्यूड, टोकन ऑफ ओके रमन जी विल प्रेजेंट. Thank you, sir, for joining us here, and it has been absolutely wonderful sharing ideas, perspectives. We also have with us Shri Sudhir Pratap Singh Ji, IPS retired, former DG, NSG and Treasurer IPF. We request Rajiv Ji to please present a token of appreciation for Shri Sudhir Pratap Singh Ji. Shri Sudhir Pratap Singh Ji is a distinguished former IPS officer of Rajasthan cadre. He began his professional journey with the Indian Railway Traffic Service in 1981 before joining the IPS in 1983. Over the course of his career, he held key leadership roles, including the Superintendent of Police in various districts of Rajasthan, DIG in the Crime Branch, and Additional Director General Training. On central deputation, he served in the CBI, CISF, CRPF, and eventually led the National Security Guard as Director General until his retirement in 2018. His exemplary service has been recognized with the President's Police Medal for Meritorious Service and President's Police Medal for Distinguished Service. Thank you for joining us here, Shri Sudhir Pratap Singh Ji. And of course, we have with us Shri DC Jain Ji. मैं पुनः राजीव जी से रिक्वेस्ट करूंगी कि प्लीज आप DC Jain जी को टोकन ऑफ रिस्पेक्ट एक्नॉलेजमेंट प्लीज प्रेजेंट करें, जिन्होंने बहुत अच्छा काम किया है. जोरदार तालियां श्री DC Jain जी के लिए, लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन. We thank each of our speakers today. We thank each of our dignitaries who have joined us here today, the members of the August gathering, and also people who have joined us online. Big thanks to each one. As we draw this insightful and enriching seminar to a close, it's time to express our heartfelt gratitude to all those who made this possible. May I please invite Shri Atul Mardia Ji, Chief Secretary of JITO Delhi Chapter, a committed leader and key force behind today's gathering, to Can we have a mic, please? Yeah.
जी जय जिनेंद्र. आज के सेशन के लिए सबसे पहले मैं सबका आने का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद करता हूँ और इतना कीमती समय निकाल के आए, और सब स्पीकर्स को मैं थैंक यू बोलता हूँ कि इतनी नॉलेज हमारे को आज यहाँ पर मिली है, और ऑनलाइन भी करीब 200 से ऊपर लोग हमारे साथ जुड़े हुए थे आज, तो ये अपने आप में एक बहुत बड़ी बात है. प्लीज़ क्लैप फॉर एवरीवन. और जीतो न्यू दिल्ली चैप्टर इंडियन पुलिस फाउंडेशन को एज एन जेस्चर एक 7 लाख रुपीज़ का चेक यहाँ पर दिए जा रहा है उसको. थैंक यू.
That is wonderful indeed. Various enlightening interactions. Very important takeaways that we will take back home with all of us. As we conclude this memorable gathering, let us now rise together for the national anthem. National anthem, a symbol of our unity, pride, and shared identity as citizens of this great nation. Penned by Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore, the anthem reflects the rich diversity, cultural heritage, and the collective spirit of India. National anthem, please.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल गंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
As we conclude, may we please invite everyone for lunch. आप सभी लोग प्लीज भोजन के लिए प्रस्थान करें, और इसी के साथ इस सेमिनार का यहीं पर समापन होता है. We are concluding this wonderful, interactive and enlightening seminar. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us here in person and online. Thank you once again to Indian Police Foundation and JITO. Thank you.